Welcome back to Packernet. JJ Leahy, Ryan Schlip, and Jake Shavink. We are, I don't want to say BSing around here, but we don't have a topic because, frankly, we don't need a topic. The last couple of weeks in Packerdom have been whack. There's a lot to talk about. One of the things that I want to just get out of the way before we get started, I've been trying to get, let me cover up the logo. Been trying to get the company that makes this drink, this delicious drink, to sponsor this show, and they don't yet. So I'm thinking about the new sponsor might have to be Hall's Cough Drops, because that's what's going to get me through this episode. All right before we go live, we were talking about, like what happens to the whole draft order if the Panthers beat the Packers, which I think people think is at least on the table. So Jake, you were saying that the Packers right now are sitting at 11, and we think that draft position is going to move down because we think we're going to beat the Panthers. But boy, it is an intriguing idea to think about sort of the ripple effect of if the Packers drop one to the Panthers, how does that change the division going forward? Because as it stands right now, with Caleb Williams likely the number 1 overall pick and the Chicago Bears in possession of that pick, they could get a haul for that 1.1 if they choose not to replace Justin Fields. So, man, is it worth it? I almost lean toward, yes, it would be worth it to keep all that future draft capital out of the hands of the Chicago Bears, especially given that pick that has turned into 1.1 at the moment is not even their real pick. That's the one that they got for trading ways last year's 1.1. So, could we break that cycle and get them picking 4th overall for the next few years instead of, hey, we're just going to trade away the 1.1 every single year for multiple firsts?
Well, the other thing that's interesting is the Bears are playing Arizona. So that plays into this whole thing as well, to where the Bears screw themselves twice if they win that game. Because if the Carolina Panthers do win and they beat the Cardinals, that might be the Cardinals that end up taking their pick from them. Also, they could potentially drop out of the top 10, depending on who wins and loses, if they win that game with their actual pick. So if we lose to the Panthers and they beat the Cardinals, as much as that sucks, because now we're tied with the Bears and very likely we'll have a worse record than them, whatever, they screwed themselves real hard in the draft just with those 2 games.
Get this. What if the Panthers pick falls off of 1.1, but the Bears really did want Caleb Williams the whole time, and now they have to go trade their first round picks, plural, to move back up to that 1.1 to draft Caleb.
Right.
Who, by the way, I'm not even that high on Caleb. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he shouldn't be the 1 overall.
But you're saying he's kind of bad.
I'm just saying I'm not as high on him as everybody else is. He's good for sure. But I don't think that he's the slam dunk that everybody seems to know that he is. So I'm just saying, if Chicago paid heavily to go get him, I'd feel better about it than I think some other Packer fans would.
Well, that's always kind of my way of looking at the draft, because people are like, well, it's not that big of a difference. It's well, you can quantify the difference. You know what I mean? Look at how much it would cost to trade. That's how massive that difference is. So you regardless of how you feel about the players, and the difference between 1 and 5 is not that big of a difference. Trade up from 5 to 1, and you'll see how big of a difference it is.
Good point.
Especially if you take into account what the overwhelming belief is that Williams and May are both better than, Stroud Young last year. That's pretty much what the consensus tells us right now. And it's been, a few years since we've had, a class with players probably at this caliber, right? I think Stroud is obviously outplaying what some thought of him, but I think when you look back to 2020, that was legit, I mean, Lawrence is kind of on track, but 21 not looking good. 22 is horrible. 23 has Stroud, but 24 there's two legitimate guys, and it's going to cost a lot. And I know it would be really fun to have all those Bears fans who last year were like, you know how much they're going to have to give up to move up to our spot. And then to be this year, be like, nah, we don't have to give up that much to move up to 1.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure you don't. Sure you don't.
Ryan, do you know if Chris in the comments here is Chris from Alabama, or do you think it's just a different Chris?
I mean, it's low probability, I suppose, just from how many Chris's there are on the world standpoint, but I suppose it could be, certainly.
We got two hold for this, arguing for us to hire Joe Barry. Interesting strategy. And then
he says he auto-corrected. He auto-corrected. He said, oops.
No, sorry. You can't.
I see hire Joe Barry.
You can't just come in and pretend you didn't say it, all right?
I don't know how you say this person's name. Is it like a backwards? But even backwards, it doesn't make sense.
Nakarn.
It's like Nrakano or Ona.
Narakan Zero. It's a thing.
This is probably from some video game that I haven't played. He says kind of on, or he or she, they say kind of on the draft topic. A big thank you to Jake for getting me excited about Kraft during the draft process. Super happy to see my home state helping the Packers. Jake and I did talk a lot about Tucker Kraft a year ago because we did both like him.
Yeah,
and I was pretty high on him. And I put together a quick list earlier today of all of the my guys that the Packers have drafted ever. So I'm going to read through the list. Get ready. We have Lucas Van Ness, Tucker Kraft, and Carl Brooks from last year.
Okay.
The year before we have Devontae Wyatt, Sean Ryan, Zach Tom, Kingsley Enagbare, and Rasheed Walker. That's where the list ends because 2022 was the first time they ever drafted somebody that I had wanted, and they happened to draft 5 guys that I wanted. So I've been having a lot more fun these last 2 years of Packers drafting. Not saying I'm expecting it to continue, but I have really savored the 22 and 23 draft of being able to be like, hey, we actually got some guys that I had circled instead of, I don't know, every other year. In the first 2 rounds, they draft guys that I specifically didn't want. And then after that, it was starting in the 3rd and 4th round every year. It was who? I watched so many guys I've never heard of. AJ Dillon, they were doing that every year. So
I think they've only, if I were to say super way up my guys, I think there's only been 3 since 2017.
Who's
Jair was 1.
Okay.
I was over the moon with that one. Jordan Love was my guy. I ranked him ahead of a couple of the other guys in that top 5, and then Tucker Kraft was the 3rd.
So Jordan,
nice
for 2020. I told my wife the day of the draft. I said I was so disappointed in the 2019 draft, on draft day, for that week. I said I've adjusted my Packers draft strategy this year. I'm going to be happy with anybody they take as long as it's not T. Higgins or Jordan Love. And then they took one of those guys, and I have spent the last 3 or 4 years, however long it's been, 4 years now, listening to people argue about we should have taken the other of those 2 guys with that pick. So, I kind of can't win.
Why does nobody bring up Michael Pittman in that conversation ever?
It's weird, right?
He was Senior Bowl, athlete, size, everything they liked as well. Having a good season, by the way. It's good to see that.
Ryan, what my guys have you had that they've drafted ever?
I think, there's a couple kind of on the fence-ish ones, but I think the one that was a definitive my guy that they picked was Wyatt. That was probably the one. I did
Zach Tom.
Come on.
You were definitely on Zach Tom.
Zach Tom, yeah, but I take a half credit for that because that was just I saw he ranked high in every SIS category and was like, that's freaking dope. And then I liked him for that reason. It wasn't like I watched him, I was obsessed, and we drafted him.
I gotcha. I remember at one point last year, you were almost I'm getting off the Zach Tom train because too many people are on it. I can't be here. I can't be here anymore.
Yeah, it was my train, and then everybody started doing it, and now it's just the cool thing to do, so I don't want to do it anymore. That always I like when it's just me. I don't like when because everybody likes to be in the crowd.
Yeah.
So like 2 people discover them, and then everybody flocks, and it's like, no, get out of here! Dang it! All right, fine, I'll find somebody else.
Yep.
This is stupid.
Kingsley, I had he was rock solid, second round for me. I wanted him so bad. I was so ticked that he kept falling and falling. And when we passed on him in the 5th round to trade back, I was like, that's it. We are not getting Kingsley. I don't know, if he, passed gas or something in his meeting room with with Brian Gutekunst. I don't know what he did, but he makes so much sense to me as a Packers edge rusher. So then the fact that they finally did take him, I was over the moon. I was punching the air. Yeah, so excited, Kingsley. Blaine is running his stupid mouth here. Joe Barry saved my life at the public swimming pool when I was 9. You shut your mouth, Blaine.
Oh,
I think that's just an interesting fact. It doesn't, it's not to necessarily sway public opinion.
yeah.
Blaine is a known
Just an
liar.
interesting fact.
Oh, he's drunk. He doesn't know.
Too old for this clarifies. He wanted the Bears to hire Joe Barry.
Oh,
Fine.
see, no, now he's doubling down a take back.
Right.
What's happening
Yeah,
here?
that ain't right.
You know,
You know what? Too old for this. You're a good dude, but you're here for one purpose, and that is for the office quotes.
Wait, do you see too old for this is next
he
comment?
he got
Is
back
it?
on track. He got back on track here.
Tucker Kraft is breaking
There
the
it
third
is.
round
He got
curse.
back on
Yes.
track.
Like Michael Scott broke the curse in the
Yeah.
office after
Yeah.
hitting Meredith with his car,
Yes.
curing her of rabies.
That is what it was. Curse is broken, people. Oh,
Okay, actually,
Looking
we do
that
need
way,
to talk
baby.
about this because
Love it.
The Office.
No, Tucker Kraft in the third round curse because we
Fine.
spent so much time. I kid you not. Blaine just texted me a picture of his beer and said, "I've never drank a day in my life." He's holding a beer right now. But we spent a good amount of time earlier on this season when Tucker was not playing, just relishing in the horror of how strong this third round curse has been, and basically saying listen, until Tucker does something, sorry, not going to get excited. He's been balling out. It's been super exciting to watch him play these last few weeks. Just where did this come from? And hear the coaches talking about him. I think Matt LaFleur called him the single most improved player from the beginning of summer to now on the entire roster. I mean, I'm nervous about jinxing things, but this is kind of more than we've ever gotten from a third round pick in forever. Can anybody think of a third round pick we've had in recent years that has outperformed this?
The bar we're setting here is 3 games, just for reference.
Yeah, have we gotten 3
That's
games
what
out
I'm
of
saying.
anybody?
Can we find a third round pick that's played 3 good games in a season? If we
Not
can't
Amari
find
Rodgers.
that, then I guess maybe.
Not Amari. Not.
I don't think you're gonna find one.
I don't
Alright.
think we've gotten 3
I
great
don't think
games
so.
out of Oren Burks on defense.
No,
No, probably
definitely
not. Now you know I got to look at Josiah.
Yeah,
There
that's
probably isn't one, but I gotta
Mm,
verify because
that's the one thing I was worried about.
I'm you know how I am with Josiah. I gotta get his back and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Somebody's
Ryan,
gotta be
there's a
defending,
comment in here, the most recent one from Lambeau LeBeau. Don't put it on screen. Just don't. We don't have time for that.
Well, and is that in reference to a third round pick, by the way?
No,
Okay,
he
so-
knows.
For just to be clear, because we got to clarify here. Does it have to be in a row? Because
Ooh.
Josiah DeGuara in 2022 had 4
Ooh.
games, 2 in the 70s and 2 in the 80s.
All right, let me ask you this: is 3
Tucker
in
Cra-
a row better
he did
than 3 spread out?
And
will
Tucker,
say-
one of his
yeah.
games is technically in the 60s, not the 70s.
So I will say, DeGuara had I see 2 games as a rook. One was a 71, and the other was it's red. Sometimes PFF cuts the bottom off. A 33. So we're just 2 and 20. His second year, you said he had 3 in the 70s, right? 4 in the 70s.
2022.
Oh, 2022. He had a couple in the 80s. Oh, he does.
2 in the 70s, 2 in the 80s.
Well, that's the thing, right? The tight end position, it takes a little time. So I think the fact that Kraft is doing this as a rookie at a position where you don't often see this. I know we're saying that
in a position
when
where
Sam
Laporta
Laporta is doing what he's doing, but I think we kind of knew the class had some, not maybe historic's maybe the wrong word, but like had some really, really good talent. Like it was clearly like, okay, these 6, there's probably going to be a few studs.
For the record, first time I've ever seen the X logo.
Oh, yeah.
You can actually get comments from X. Jake, did you see my comment when you were doing a stream the other day?
No.
I deliberately commented on because I saw you pop up on Twitter, and I commented just to see if you could see it, and you didn't say anything, so I assumed you didn't see it. Maybe they fixed it.
Hold up.
Dang. We got actual.
I take
maybe
back
that's why there's so
everything
many
I said
views
about Twitter.
Oh, there is. I was like, dude, we got so many viewers today. Like, people, we're killing it on the views, and it's like, well, it's because Twitter is incorporated. That's why.
Oh, so how many views do we have right now? I can't see that.
It's just a number. Don't worry.
Yeah. I hyped it up so much. I don't want to say what it is. Let's just say it's double the normal number, and half of it is Twitter. All right.
Yeah.
You can type it in the private chat to me.
Fine.
And then I'll say it out loud.
It's around 100, depending on how good you are at rounding.
You hear that, Brand?
Yep.
You hear that? You could be in front of 100 people, and I'll unveil your logo.
That's what I'm here for.
Yep.
The number that you just put in the private chat.
It went up by 1. So shut up. We're getting closer to 100.
We're doing
the number he put in the private chat is like pathetically low. FYI.
I gotta point this out.
First of all, that's higher than we've probably ever had. I hate to disappoint you.
Dude, we get comments from more people than that at once.
I want to point something out. Okay,
we just have a lot of ravenous commenters.
This is something potentially to work on. Okay, I don't know in the off season or what. Packernet as a whole, we got to figure out how to schedule streams at different times.
I know we
got 2 things going on. It's
every single
now,
time it's the same time,
and it's so we got to figure out how to stagger that a little bit. I think that will help things out.
Well, it's hard because it's like for us to actually get on the same page ever to be like, when can we do it? Like this is it's this or not at all this week.
Right.
So then we do it. And it's like the exact same time that Clayton does his thing.
Yeah. Like I said. Like the Packers, we're going to go into the off season. Okay. We're going to look at some of the tape. We're going to look at some of the tape. Okay. Obviously we don't have Joe Barry, so that's helpful.
If we thought that it would be the best thing for this podcast today to fix scheduling, then we do that. But we're discussing looking at the donations.
It's just something. Listen, when we sit down on like January 10th, when the season's over, we'll go over all the film. Okay. It's just not something high on the priority list, But
can we get back to the subject at hand, though? Because we haven't reconciled the Josiah DeGuara thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give Kraft the edge because he's doing it earlier, right? Like DeGuara's rookie season.
50-50. He played 2 games. And not even, I mean, he played 1.5 games. He had 24 snaps and had a 71 grade. And then he played 1 game, just 7 snaps, 33 grade.
Do you want to compare it to 21, his first full season then, baby? Do we want to do that?
We could.
Because there's obviously 3 games with like 76. You look at a 70 in there. There's a 29 in there.
There's 4 70s. And 3 of them are higher than any game Tucker Kraft has had. I'm just saying.
There you go.
Or 2 of his games.
Should we get super excited? Maybe not. Am I going to? Because I like Tucker Kraft. Yes, I am.
See you guys are Tucker Kraft guys. I'm a Josiah DeGuara guy, so that's why we're having this argument.
All right, let's
Ryan, you gotta break out the old reliable. only one of these two guys blocked Chase Young well in college on a few
Yeah.
reps. That's
So-
there's your argument right there.
Yep.
You know,
Well, what's Josiah DeGuara's elusiveness rating?
I'm gonna find out right now. Damn it!
All right, we
in
we
high
gotta
school, I
we gotta
guarantee
get caught up on a
Kraft was
few of
higher.
these
He played
comments.
running back.
All right, yeah, we got to
Getting
get
very-
caught up. I skipped
So,
a bunch to go to
Chris-
the Twitter thing.
Chris says, Ryan, I appreciate your podcast on DVOA versus points and trends. Made a ton of sense. I actually think I missed that episode. Not sure how long ago you did it.
It was recent, although I think I've done it twice, so you missed a couple.
I was talking about it on today.
I guess I remember you doing it.
It might have
like
been
a year
very
ago.
recent, possibly. It could have been today. I don't know.
Today's.
It might have been today's. That might be why.
I have not listened to it today yet.
I think that's
then
what it is.
It's probably today's then.
we got. See,
He is.
so-
See, just
Nar-
say
Nar-
Nar.
Nar
easier.
is easier to say. So Nar,
Was Battle for
Hmm.
Middle Earth 2 reference.
I told you. I think that's a video
nailed-
game.
You did. I mean, it has to be. I don't know. That's
Battle
not a
for
thing
Middle
going
Earth
on right
2.
now.
The Lord of the Rings, The
So-
Battle for Middle Earth 2 came out in 2006. All right.
Should I just not ask what Battle for Middle Earth 2 is?
I don't think we got that
It's
kind
the
of
Lord of the
time.
Rings game.
I've
I
got
just-
more comments.
It's a Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah, video. It's
Oh,
a.
okay.
It's a. Looks like it came. It's a PC game
Is it good?
published by EA. 97% on Google. 4.3 out of 5 on My Abandonware. I don't know My Abandonware.
You guys talk. I'm gonna pull up Steam real quick. See what we got going on.
Ryan, what do you do? Do you do all your gaming on PC or do you have a console?
I do not have a console. It's all PC.
You play Madden on PC?
I don't play Madden.
You talked about playing Madden like 2 days ago. You're talking about like
That might have been
This was
full of crap.
long
decades
time.
ago.
There you go.
Madden
This
has not
was
changed.
middle
so
school
it
in
was
my
pretty
friend's
relevant.
basement.
Madden has not changed at all. So you're
All right,
You're
then.
I don't know about
It's all-
that.
totally
all good.
relevant.
Hasn't changed in a few years. 7.
Okay, and Blaine put like 100 comments in here
Did he ever answer it?
asking
We
asking
can just go to the answer.
the answer. He wants to know.
Yeah, this is the
This is
this is
it,
the
yeah.
question. I just don't know
Right.
if the answer.
He
has
asked
been
that
put
like
in.
6 times. He said we got to work on not ignoring viewer questions. I told him he's got to work on donations. So since he has not donated yet, I say we
All right.
skip all his instances of this question, and move on to the next person.
What about how is
yeah.
Kraft next to Dallas Goddard's? Oh, I'm sure that's not.
That's not
Well,
fair.
we can look, but
I feel like
Pretty
Dallas
sure
Goddard's
Dallas tore
rookie
it up.
season wasn't that great. I feel like it
Maybe
was like
not.
year 2.
Maybe
I
it
guess
was
it
year
was.
two.
He was probably obviously the back.
No, well-
there's a 94 as a rookie.
yeah, no.
Oh yeah,
He
there's
had-
2 games with 89 plus. That's
1,
yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games above a 70. 3 of them in the 80s.
Where you
Basically,
seeing
2 of them in the 90s.
Oh, he had a 94 game as a rookie. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has 75
94.6
overall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's been good
Tucker's
back.
at like a 60 overall. So
I mean, I feel like the gap between a 60 and a 75 is less than the gap between the number 4 and number 1 pick in the draft. So, you know,
I
if you
don't
want to
know what that
quantify
means.
it.
I guess. I guess so. I will say,
Tucker
like,
Kraft
he hasn't had
reminds
like
people for this of
giant seasons either.
Kelsey.
By the way,
go ahead and do it, Lambo. If you haven't already. Oh,
He
is it
did.
this one?
Yeah. he
Kraft is
did.
better than Musgrave?
No, it's not that.
Oh, okay. Is Kraft better
I
than
mean,
Musgrave? That's not a
I'm-
bad question.
I'm in on that solely because of
I will
pre-draft
tell you, I had-
rankings.
I had Kraft higher as a draft
Solely.
prospect than Musgrave.
What?
But then, like,
Just
Musgrave
get
kind of
it
went
over here.
out in the NFL and kind of mostly did what his fans were saying he was going to do in the draft.
Right.
I feel like Musgrave lived up to the hype, and like I was just a big doubter that like those good games, the couple good games we had seen from him in college, were who he really was. But that's kind of how he played in the limited time we saw him. So
Yeah,
Well, the
I
cool
think-
thing is that's the same for Kraft too. Like these last couple games where he's kind of broken out, it's like that's the guy we saw in college. Like that's what's cool about it.
I think Kraft. Oh, this is hard. I think, man, this is. I think the ceilings are high for both of these guys, and I think it's just Musgrave. Obviously, we've talked about obviously a lot about these guys pre-drafted during camp and all that. Musgrave was always the seam stretcher, right? This was big plays, explosive plays through the air, right? And he can run in a straight line well after the catch. Like that was that, and you go, okay, look at all this athleticism you can tap into, right? There's the physical upside to the player, where it's like, okay, look at all these quicks that he has and stuff. Where it's like, okay, zone blocking should be able to come to him if he can work at it. For Kraft, it was just like, okay, he's got all this elusiveness from playing the running back position. He is physical and tough. It's just like, okay, can you play within yourself a little bit more? Not super reckless. But I think his ceiling to be a combo tight end, Kraft's was a little bit higher than Musgrave's. Musgrave, I think, is going to be probably a better receiving option just because, and I think EPA per play and value metrics in that regard are going to like him more because of like, okay, guy hits doubles and triples.
Yeah, right.
But I think Kraft you can treat as a combo guy, a chain mover. He has some juice after the catch as well. Like he can work the middle of the field a lot, like a lot of these young tight ends in the league, and even some of the older veterans like Kelsey, like Goddard, like guys who can work the middle. So it's different skill sets, but I think again, I loved the idea of getting 2 of the top 6. They did it. Oh, it feels really good to potentially be sitting in 12 personnel like this for a long time.
So I just pulled up. Do either of you guys have those 2 guys' grades like side by side on your screens right now? I could.
Yes, I do actually.
Hold up.
You want me to get them? I'll get them.
I have.
No, I don't want you to get them. I want you to.
I got it.
I know where they are.
I don't want you to.
By the time you get to the point, he's going to have it up.
Say something.
I'm saying I want you to guess who was a better pass blocker and who was a better run blocker.
Oh, I see. Well,
I see you looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think that's what you're talking about. I'm going to look that up.
Lambo LeBeau said about that Lord of the Rings game, he says he's not a Harry Potter guy. So
what?
He's not interested in that Lord of the Rings game because he's not a Harry Potter guy.
That makes sense.
I don't understand that, but that's
perfect.
Right.
Makes perfect sense. It fits
evergreen.
All right, Ryan. I think you got to answer Blaine's dumb question.
I don't remember the answer. He has to answer it. I don't remember.
He says, have you explained how we know the 3rd round curse was broken?
Yeah, I remember the conversation. I don't remember how it went. His and my conversation sound a lot like Packernet Derailed. It goes all over the place, and at the end, I don't remember anything that happened.
I think it was kind of like, how do we know that this curse is broken because of Kraft? And I think you alluded to it a little bit where you're like, well, DeGuara kind of did this in his first full season, and so do we definitively know?
Yeah,
and we probably do not.
Sparks nothing.
But I know because he ranked high.
Wouldn't it definitively be broken if we signed a 3rd round pick to a second contract? Like, that's wouldn't
probably what it is? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the bar?
I think so.
That's fair.
I think that's fair. Way.
So Josiah has an opportunity here.
Okay.
I feel like Josiah has not really broken the curse. I like Josiah.
Yeah.
But like, we're certainly not going to get in a bidding war with anybody else to re-sign him.
Yeah, no, this is true.
I don't think anybody else is going to be banging down the door.
So I have kind of a on topic, off topic, because it keeps popping up and it feels stupid, but also not stupid. How unbelievably stupid! And I'm not asking would the Packers do this because I know the answer. How unbelievably stupid in your mind would it be if we ended up getting Brock Bowers?
Oh, it's not stupid at all. I love it.
Okay, all right,
not stupid at all. If he falls, if say the Packers are picking like 17th. And he falls to 17. Are you kidding?
Right.
I'm absolutely doing that. Because I think what it offers you is the possibilities because, you're worried about Watson's health, right? And how much can he play every season? And I think that's fair to talk about at this point. There are plenty of options where you go, hey, look at this. Like Bowers could almost be a use check of sorts, right? And you have 2 almost positionally like flexible tight ends on your team, and like Kraft and Bowers, and you get two studs you got your guys at receiver, like you can get to a point where it's not there in terms of superstar power, but you're getting to a point where you can kind of get a Shanahan offense going, where you go like, okay, well, we can align Bowers wherever we want.
Yeah.
Like he can play fullback and we can run him up the seam. Good luck with that. Have fun.
So he's
like,
just a significant Josiah DeGuara upgrade.
Yeah.
Like massive.
And also and also it's like a super good receiver who
yeah.
I mean, he's smaller. So is Goody going to like the fact that he's like 235? Probably not.
Yeah.
Will everybody be livid if they pass on him? Probably. But like, there's that positional flexibility to like play slot, play, attached to the line is kind of that second guy where he's like the wing. You could call him in some offenses and put him in the backfield. Like, just sign me up. Just get in 13. Get in 13. Run with Benson or Allen, whoever you pick next year in the draft, and like just cook.
I do like that. I think every time I've ever asked you about a prospect, you get excited about him. I always expect you to be like, "Nah, it's trash. It's stupid," and you're just
feel like it's more
up.
fun to get excited about.
No, that makes sense. I get
guys,
it.
I disagree. I think it's really fun hating on some trash players.
It's really just fun to hate on people in general. Apparently,
I really only like hating if it's somebody who I think is like really overhyped. Like when everybody was telling me that X player was like the next dude.
Throw out an example.
Fell on his face. Well, okay.
Put it out there.
Brian Branch. Everybody was telling me like Brian
you
Branch is like.
Oh, that's definitely not where I thought he was going either.
Zach Wilson is where I thought he was going.
I thought so too.
I thought about saying Zach
Wilson. That was the low-hanging fruit right there.
I thought he was going to McCarthy as well. I thought for sure that was it.
Well, McCarthy isn't in the league yet, so like that's you totally can't make any judgment on that yet.
Let me put this out there right now for the people listening. JJ is going to be a lot of draft shows in the next 4 months. And if McCarthy declares, don't ask him about him because he'll just 15-minute lay into the play of JJ McCarthy. Not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying that's what you're gonna get.
Do you have energy right now to hear my updated stance on JJ McCarthy?
I don't know.
I think that JJ McCarthy.
Yes, Chris, you're right.
What did Chris say? Yeah. I think that JJ McCarthy, if he goes to the right situation and is able to sit a little while and develop a little while, I think he has the tools. I really don't think he's ready yet. I do think that as you're trying to assess some of the, intangible, the leadership, I think that he's got that. I think he motivates the guys around him really well. So, I don't think that he's ready right now. I think right now he's a good college quarterback. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. But physically, I think he can get there. And I think you're going to have to train some stuff out of him. Yeah. I just think that there's so many crappy situations around the NFL that the odds of him ending up in a good spot really low, but it could happen. And, maybe Green Bay is the place. You sit behind Jordan Love for a couple of years, whatever. I don't know. And Lambeau LeBeau.
I will say one more thing on McCarthy. I think it's a good point. He's 21. And I think that's the kind of draw, right? And you said the tools, some of the physical tools that he's got in the bag at 21 years old, where you're looking, you're playing kind of the future card a little bit, where you're like, okay, by the time he's 23, 24, a la, number 10, a little bit kind of like that, where it's like, okay, by then we expect him to be, wherever they want to expect him to be, top 12, but that's,
So there you go.
I did not think he was going to have a rational conversation about McCarthy. I thought for sure it was like,
I've always been rational.
This guy can't do anything.
I have always been rational about McCarthy.
I don't know. That paragraph you sent in Discord a couple months ago, there was a lot attached to that. We'll see.
It was literally all about what he does on the field and nothing to do with anything else.
It was
literally just what he does on the field.
It was.
Sorry you didn't like it.
It's not that I didn't like it. It was just it was a lot of reading.
So Ben keeps
that question about links. It's golf. It is golf. I will say. I know it was on the screen.
Ben keeps bringing up facial hair and pointing out that there's a lot of beards on the show, and part of why there's so many beards on the show, or such a, the reason it's 100% is because Clayton is not on Derailed. And he's, I think, the only non-bearded person as of right now at Packernet. I think every other Packernet person has a beard. No, yeah, they do.
Yeah, sounds legit. I don't know.
So until Clayton decides to be part of Derailed, we're big
Reminds
on
me of
facial
the Stanley thing where they're trying to remember if he had a mustache or not.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. I think he has one. Wait, no. That is a great scene. That's very funny.
Oh, look at this. Kiran Amagaji. We were just talking about him earlier today.
If anyone was going to bring him up. Wait, where is it? Yeah.
I'm so far behind.
I knew
in the
it.
comments.
It was bad.
Not
I
there
knew
yet.
it was going to be.
Jake, is that how you say that guy's name? Or is it Kieran?
Listen, I'm preferring to look this up. I'm not saying it. I have a thought, but I'm going to look at Yale's website and hope that they have the pronunciation.
Blaine says that this third round Kurtz thing is about witches, that witches should remind you.
Oh yeah, now I got it.
Is it worth telling?
Come on, Yale.
Boy, it's got. I'd have to look some stuff up. I don't know if I even want to get it started because it's one of those things. I'm going to start explaining it, and then I'm going to say I wish I hadn't started this thing because it's
Blaine, if you want to explain it,
yeah, you just got to
have a
do it,
standing-
Blaine. You go ahead and do it. I'm not doing it on the
you
thing
have a
here.
standing invitation to hop on this show.
That's true. You could jump on and do it.
I have texted Blaine and asked him to join this show like 6 different times now, and he always leaves me hanging. He doesn't even say no. He just doesn't even reply. Like we'll be
I won't
talking,
even
and I'll
dignify
say
that
like,
with a
"Hey, do you want to hop
response."
on Derailed?" End of the conversation.
All right, what else we got here? 12 personnel, craft, still talking tight ends. We got some laughing going on. It's funny stuff.
All right. Chris says we need an offensive line and defensive line big time. I think we need a defensive line coach. I kind of like the guys we have on the roster.
Wait a minute.
I don't think you
School
should read
face.
this.
Calm down.
I'm not reading that one out loud.
No.
You got us on topic. I get what you're trying to say, but I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. On topic. Could have just used it. Could have just used on topic. At least Ben comes in about a few later and says the Packers got that last week, which is true. The defense
There you go.
for sure. So
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nailed it.
I think that we need. Do you guys?
Well, Bowers is.
You guys
If,
don't
we're-
wanna
if
talk
this
about
was
this?
in reference to Bowers, he's a tight end.
Remember that Watson was a second rounder. If we take a wide receiver in the first, it would still be the first round wide receiver in a long time. Having said that, I want to go in a different direction. So actually, this reminds me of a question that I received earlier today. Who sent this? This was, I don't know this dude's name. He messages me on Twitter, but his display name is GoPackGo, and his Twitter handle is Clay Curry. I know he's not Clay Curry. Anyways, he says, with the emergence of Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks, and to be honest, even Malik Heath, how likely is it that Dobbs kind of loses his role in the offense? Do you think he is a good trade candidate?
No.
Well, let's put it this way. If we draft a first-round wide receiver, we can have that conversation.
That's kind of where I'm sitting right now, because if you got Christian and Romeo and Jaden and Tay, that's 4 guys, and I don't want less than 4 guys. And so we went on to talk a little bit about like what type of wide receiver would you be interested in drafting this year, or do you just skip? And I did point out I don't like that we still kind of live in this world where like, hey, if you're MVS type, you're Christian Watson, if they go down, the offense just kind of falls apart because suddenly we don't know how to stretch the field anymore. Like, I'm a little bit sick of that. And I know like Luke Musgraves is supposed to be that, but like he's fast for a tight end. He's not fast for a wide receiver. So he does stretch the offense, stretches a little bit differently. When he and Watson are both out there, fan-freaking-tastic. But can we have like one other guy on the roster who does what Marquez and Christian do, so that like we have Bo Melton and we're not using him that way, but like can we have one other guy on the team so that when Christian misses 2 weeks in a row, we're not struggling to get to 20 points each week. Like if our offense is so reliant on you have to have a speed guy to stretch things out, then I feel like we should have more than one.
I'm not gonna say anything because he's like a where we're going caged animal just waiting to be cut loose. He's like a greyhound just waiting for that gate door to open up.
Yeah.
Who is it, Jake? Tell us.
So I think there's not just one. No, but I just want to say this quick because I remember Drew D brought this up. I don't love to victory lap. It's fun to do. In small groups where you know people and you have a good time talking about guys like this. But I tweeted on September 17th, Packers wide receiver take, Watson, Reed, Wicks going forward. Love it. We're here, clearly, which is great. But like Dobbs is reliable enough where, yeah, like Jay just said, if you're drafting like Malik Neighbors, then we can have that conversation. They will not be doing that. He's going far too high for that.
I mean, Dobbs, like to your point, he's reliable, and like I really like that floor that he provides us. I don't want our fourth best receiver to be, a friggin' walk on like Bo Melton, Grant Dubose, Samori Toure, one of these guys who are a penny a piece. I like that if you're missing Watson, hey, we can roll Dobbs out there and like. He's really good at what he does. He knows the offense really well, makes smart catches, good route runner. Can you improve on Romeo? Absolutely. As your fourth wide receiver, I'm all over it.
He is the young James Jones of the Aaron Rodgers era. It's literally what it is. It's like, okay, why do you make these easy catches look difficult, buddy? And then it's like, oh wow, nice catch between three defenders. Nice, go up and win the football in the air. And like he scores. And that's reminiscent of Jones for a couple seasons, especially obviously the one Jordy went down. But like, that's so nice to have there. Now to the point of the speedy guys, Xavier Worthy from Texas is small, like 166 pounds ish small from Texas, but he's 6'6". That's more like Devonta Smith height. Dude's probably gonna run like 4.33 at the absolute worst. And then you have, oh no, there's no way I'm going to finish this. There's 0% chance people are getting this done. But like, okay. Two more quick before we absolutely before we completely lose it here.
We're not derailed enough, so I brought.
I know. Tez Walker from North Carolina. It looks exactly like Watson, runs exactly like Watson, has inconsistent catch point stuff like Watson. Like that's exactly the same player. Troy Franklin from Oregon is going to run the low 4.3s as well.
Okay, thanks, Jake. Hi, Blaine.
All done.
That's gracious, Jake.
Tell us what is this? What is this witch thing?
All right, so
is this an Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend take? Are we bringing this up again?
It is
exactly what it is.
Okay,
I forgot about that detail.
Yeah, that's what made it real.
I know.
You guys remember like 2 weeks ago when we signed Q Blue Kelly? I really thought that was Rodgers' girlfriend in disguise. Blue of Earth, wasn't that her name?
Yeah,
it was.
There's something. So
I need a LaCroix for this.
So it just so happened that it was the when DeVito stomped all over us and Love looked like everybody looked terrible. They were getting sacks. We got no sacks. It was like everything was the opposite of what it should have been in that Giants game. And so me and G were talking about it one day, and I was like, oh, man, that'd be weird. Like, Aaron Rodgers plays on that field. And what if he brought his girlfriend in and cursed it? I wonder if there's like a spell.
Man.
And so he goes up and looks up this witch's almanac, which I don't know where he found it, but he did.
Worry about it.
And he goes, first spell in the witch's almanac is called Opposite Day. It's you can curse an area and you can make it so everything that happens there is opposite and everybody's traits become opposite. What do you know? Wasn't that Zach Wilson's God Week too?
Yeah.
And then who looked really terrible? Houston looked really terrible out of nowhere there. And it was just really suspicious. And then it was who pops off in that game? That was Tucker Kraft's first pop-off game out of nowhere.
Oh my god.
And so the opposite day spell made us lose. It was terrible. It was the full opposite day, but I think it broke the third round curse. I think it broke it, and we were like, we were talking about it. It's like if he moves forward after this and he keeps doing well, I think the third round curse is broken forever, and I think it was worth losing to DeVito. It felt really good.
We're gonna start sucking the second round now.
No, we don't know. We don't know. No, that'll be a whole new
No.
curse. Whole new curse.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We don't know. I did reach out to the person that wrote. Or I tried to reach out to the person that wrote.
Oh
the
yeah, I
almanac.
forgot about that.
I wrote an email. I got in touch with somebody. It actually wasn't the person that wrote it. He talked to me for a little bit. I think he got the impression I was messing with him, and he's like, "I can't talk to you anymore." So then I started digging a little bit more into like who actually wrote it, and it got a little bit weird because I found the woman's name, and I'm not kidding you. We went back, we found her, and it's like, oh, she's like from 1800s, like this exact first and last name, and she's from Salem, Massachusetts, and I'm like, okay, that's creepy, and I'm like, oh, never mind, that was in the 1600s, so we're good. I looked it up. There was somebody in Salem in the 1600s, exact same name. So 1600
Also
Salem,
a witch.
Massachusetts, she was a witch. 1800 Salem, Massachusetts, she was a witch. And now this lady, modern day, who's writing spells, same exact name.
So we think we got a time traveler who's going through not a time traveling witch, but a witch that's
She's just
found
like a
eternal
girl.
life.
When she gets
Yeah.
burned at the
Yeah.
stake, she comes back. Yeah.
She comes back, and that she just like keeps recycling the same name every couple hundred years, man.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna remember.
Is it like
And,
a super generic name like Sarah Brown or something?
It wasn't. It wasn't even super generic. I forget what it was, but it was like it was enough that I was like, that makes me really.
You all think I'm
uncomfortable.
lying. It's not a lie. I
It's
gave
not-
up at the when I found out the Salem thing. I was
that's
like,
what
nope,
he was like.
not doing it anymore.
I'm out of this. He was like, this is too close to blasphemy. I
Like,
can't
I was
be doing
joking
so-
around, and now it's weird, and I don't want to do this because she's going to find out that I'm looking her up, and I don't want to do this.
And she's the
anymore.
one that wrote the opposite day spell.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And somehow she's tied in with Rogers and that whole cult thing, and I'm just not playing with that anymore.
Nope.
So does this impact potentially next year? Because right now Green Bay's in third in the division.
Mhm.
They host the AFC East third place team at Lambeau next year.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they're
So,
coming to town. Well, of
they
course, kicked
are.
their butts last year.
They are coming to town.
How weird is? Why are we playing the Jets 3 years in a row? How does that happen?
Come on.
Did we play? Wait, what?
No,
we didn't
they're
play him.
Did we play them this year?
No.
2 out of 3 years.
Oh, we played the Giants this year.
Yeah,
we played
yeah.
the
Giants.
Giants this
yeah.
year. Right.
So,
Okay.
but yes, so that doesn't affect that. We don't
Well,
think.
regardless, I'm sure there's more than one spell. I mean, he can
Mhm.
cast another spell. You know what I mean?
But I think he had time to prepare. I think that was like he cast it and then like left town and was
Right.
like, suckers.
Like I'm not
Well, that's the
rehabbing
thing. He
here.
knew who was coming into town, so they just like dropped it in the middle of the field and took off. You know,
because think about
I don't exactly know how curses
Zero-
work, but I feel like it's something like that.
0 sacks against that team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They got-
Against the
what did he get,
Giants.
7 sacks this week against the Saints. Was that what it was?
Yeah, they're
Something like
terrible.
that.
They went back to being the worst team of all time. So, but I think
Very weird.
they might have irrevocably broken the third round curse, and we would be able to tell by if Tucker Kraft had another good game, and he did. I think they accidentally broke the curse. But I'm super excited. I think it's over. I think it's officially over, guys.
I love
Tell
the
me I'm wrong.
comment section so much.
Yeah. Ben is funny.
Oh,
Ben is cooking, except for when he talks about stupid 7th round picks.
What?
What?
What 7th round picks? Oh, no. It's a
You're not-
receiver who
yeah.
shall not be named, I guess.
I mean, you got Rasheed Walker, you know.
Yeah.
Rasheed Walker is awesome.
He's doing some stuff.
You know how I know he's awesome? Because
Bill
he's actually
Belichick.
playing like that on the field. That's how you know he's awesome.
Bill
Yeah,
Belichick
true.
is a witch.
I don't have to just take somebody's word for it that he's secretly awesome despite never being awesome on the field.
That is a hilarious visual.
Man.
I gotta go run off to AI and see if I can. generate
I'm
that.
ahead of you. I already started it.
Did you start that?
Did you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to do the one with like him in like the cutoff hoodie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on a second here. I do
The
like that
cutoff
Drew D
sleeves.
said, and suddenly the third round just became the most interesting round to me. They picked twice.
I just love that everybody's in. It's not like this is the dumbest show. I'm leaving. Everybody's like, bro. All right, here's the deal. Here's how
Yeah.
this works.
They picked twice as of now in the
Yep.
third round.
Yeah.
It might just wow. Next Hall of Fame, Packer Hall of Famer incoming potentially. in the
Dude,
third.
I'm
Ryan,
just
That's
saying.
4D chess by Brian Gutekunst, by the way. You want to pull that opposite day curse on me? Guess what? I doubled up on third round picks. Checkmate, son.
He's like he had like a source in New York, back then. He's like, all right, wait a minute. All right, this is
Yep.
happening. Okay, cool. Yeah, Sewell, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We got to let you go for
This
a
curse
third,
is
man.
potent.
We got to get
It's
another
a
third in the
potent
building
curse.
here. So, okay.
We're gonna get Hall of Famers. I need to get that second one, and I hate to do it, but Razul, you got to go.
I'm
And
just
of course,
saying,
too
man.
old for this.
I just
Crosses
feel like
the line a little too far here.
I just
No.
feel like it's something to keep an eye on.
No,
Marvin
Maybe
Harrison.
you can probably get senior in the third round if you want.
I wonder if
Not
that
sure.
works in trades. Can we trade our third round pick for like a premier player? You think?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I mean, we've been
ooh.
asking them to do
Player?
that for years.
Wow.
Wow,
Hang
third
on a
round
second,
pick,
guys.
isn't it?
Think about this. A third round, the new uncursed third round pick, plus the Jets, obviously blessed
Second round.
second
pick.
round pick to move up into the first to get Hall of Fame. Doesn't matter who.
That's true.
Cook. Oh yes.
This is all true. All of it
it
is
is.
true.
It was so true. Like this was like a solid 2-hour conversation he and I had, full of like research and like footnotes. We went way too far.
Can't believe we
Shout
didn't
out to
get here
Andy, by the
faster.
way, for the $5 dono. Says thanks for listening to me yell about Matt LaFleur press conference.
Caller number
What a
5.
press
Yeah,
conference.
caller number 5.
Oh man.
That was everybody. So you're good, man.
I'm not gonna talk about that right now.
Yes.
Well, you
I
don't
will-
wanna- you don't
I will
wanna get
work
mad?
on
I gotta watch the
Bill
film.
Belichick witch.
No.
I gotta.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna,
no.
I'm gonna have to watch the
repeat
film on this one.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't.
You have to hit. The
I'm not
tape.
gonna say things that are correct that you guys think, but I just gotta watch.
So
I'm not sure if Baker Mayfield's passer rating was actually perfect. I gotta go see that.
Yeah, I gotta check the tape.
I gotta go see that.
I'm gonna go relive that experience again.
Oh,
It seems
why?
like a really great time.
I think you should go relive the Tucker Craft versus Giants experience again.
Oh,
Yeah, just watch that one
Did
play
you
up the
play
seam
the
over and
Tampa
over.
Bay Buccaneers? I gotta check the tape. I don't know.
I don't know. They had something that looked like a pirate on their head. It could have been the Raiders though. So I
it
just
could have
gotta
been the
do-
Raiders.
Have you seen the stop giving me your hardest battles meme?
Yes, I just saw that. That's hilarious.
Joe Barry is talking to Jesus and he's like,
Yeah.
stop giving me your hardest battles. And Jesus is like, LOL, you literally played Tommy DeVito and Baker Mayfield.
I just saw one that's literally it's literally Carolina, but yeah, same
Oh
thought
no,
process.
no.
Stop giving me your hardest battles. I am literally the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Did you see the Onion article?
Oh, this is so
The
bad.
one
Dude,
about space.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like
Yep.
something
They were
about
lined- they
Packers
were lined up
DBs
in
were lined up
space.
20 million light years away.
Yeah.
And they're still not sure if it was far enough off.
They found him with a telescope.
Yeah, James Webb Telescope finds
Yep.
Packers DBs 20 million light years off in coverage.
Yeah.
checks out.
Do you
Checks
think
out.
Was it third
when-
and 3? I don't know
Yeah.
if it said in the article if it was 3rd and 3 or not, but that sounds about right.
Do you think when the offense runs a play, do you think the Packers safeties can actually see it, or are they too far away to know what's going on?
You know, I think they might need telescopes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be-
Maybe that's the
I'm gonna be
problem. Maybe
honest.
they need to get some like lenses that are
Yeah.
telescopic on their.
Goggles.
On
I'm
their
gonna be
yeah,
honest.
you know
I
what
didn't
mean?
even know we had safeties because I've never seen them on the broadcast cam.
We're always playing 9 and 11.
Matt
It's
LaFleur,
so
Matt,
hard.
Matt LaFleur in the press conference. Hey, listen, I'm not even sure safeties were out there. I'm going to check the all 22. Though.
I'm gonna be.
Like,
we're
I'm
gonna have
not
to check
sure
the all
they were
22
there.
on that one because I was watching broadcast. I didn't see any, so I don't.
That's why they,
shine.
that's
thought
why
we
they
had,
don't
like,
actually
8
grade out
linemen.
that poorly because
So.
they're not even in the play, so you can't grade them negatively.
Here's the thing. You
Oh,
know
who
that
did
safeties are
this?
not very important to the Packers because, like, we're going on year 3 of you need to have drafted a safety, and they couldn't even hire an actual safety coach. So, like, I don't think they care about
No.
safeties. It's just, hey,
No.
Why?
if
why
we
did-
let a 40-yard run happen, can you just go make sure it doesn't turn into a touchdown? That's literally it.
Yeah, why doesn't Goot draft safeties? Because he talked to Joe Barry and Joe Barry said, "Don't bother.
It said, "Don't worry about
Just
it."
don't worry about it. Like I don't use them."
Well, do you remember?
Or-
I only have 9 on the field.
Or
Yeah.
does he watch
Tampa baited twice against Atlanta.
They give us 11, so I throw a couple out there, but I use 9 in my scheme.
I actually just found those guys at a tailgate. Earlier
All right.
this
won't
morning.
draft safeties
They
because
said, "Go
he
stand
has
out
seen
there."
Hey
how
guys,
this
I
team
got a
works.
question. Have you guys
Doesn't
heard
wanna
of
waste
Simone
draft.
Biles? She's a really good friend of mine.
That's why Jonathan. That's why he's here.
Her husband needs a job. You know what I'm saying?
Literally don't need safeties at all. Let's go get that guy so Simone Biles will be in the
Was that
area.
was that in the pitch in the free agency meeting? It was like
Yeah.
Joe Barry's like, "Listen, I got this great idea here."
Mhm.
And
No, this
that's
is-
like-
Well, how do you guys
Here's
feel
what
about
I did.
having a gold medal, 50-time gold medal Olympian on the sideline, but her husband is safety?
her
Huh?
husband can't
He's
tackle
also on the
can't tackle
sideline
Stone
because
Smart
that's where I
in
have him lined
in the
up.
open field.
This it's scary how much that actually makes more sense than we brought Owens here because they liked his play skill set.
Yeah.
He allowed
Well-
a touchdown to Stone Smart. I don't know if anybody knew that was a player, but they do now.
Did you
Okay.
guys see Campbell's tweet? Have you talked about that?
Yes. So let's talk about that.
Oh boy.
Ryan,
was,
did you not see it?
No, I saw it.
Oh
It
yeah,
ticked me off.
But part
I
of
was-
it, he's so vague and cryptic. Like I'm like, dang, Zadarius, I don't know who you're talking to.
I actually have it sitting right here.
too old
That's
for this.
pretty
This is a great.
Not
comment,
going
by the
out
way.
of my way anymore, and I'm not playing through injuries anymore. Because when this stuff goes wrong, they always use it against you. I'm treating everyone accordingly and giving them the same energy they give me. Focus on yourself and your mental. 59, you owe it to yourself.
So
He was giving himself a pep talk, right? Like 59, you owe it to yourself. Like he was looking in the mirror, tweeting
Right.
this.
Oh, was he
Well, it
looking in the
sounds
mirror
like
and
he's
saying it, and it went like
frickin-
text? It went like speech to text on Twitter.
Yeah,
and he didn't
yeah.
understand
He
it?
was just sitting there like 59, you owe this to yourself. He calls himself 59. He doesn't call himself Campbell.
He's like, "Oh
Yeah,
crap, I
that's weird.
tweeted this." Oh shoot.
Yeah. He's talking to himself in the mirror and didn't realize.
So
My-
who
my big-
do we think he's talking? Do you think he's talking about
Yeah.
fans, or do you think he's talking about like the defense
sure.
being like, oh, it's all these explosive plays they let go. It's all their fault, not Joe Barry.
yeah, like
don't know.
is this direct when he says when stuff
This
goes
is
wrong,
really
they
good.
always use it against you, talking about playing through injuries. Is he talking about coaches or the fans?
Yes,
Too
Yeah.
old for this.
I know this is really good. By the way, hey Tariq
Too old for
Carpenter,
this.
I see you're a safety. I don't know what that is, but you're a linebacker. I wonder, did the
Barry's
Packers
like,
did they
Barry's
meet with
like,
Kyle
why do we
Hamilton?
keep drafting this position that Bisaccia uses on special teams? Bisaccia has enough players. Give me some freaking linebackers. I'm a linebacker coach.
Yeah, did
Hey.
they meet with Kyle Hamilton and be like, "Wait a minute, you're how tall? No, you're that's a linebacker."
Oh,
Or
Joe
they-
Barry
or they
did
go-
it all.
Or
Did
they
you
go,
guys? Did you guys know we
did they
we
think
have
he was a receiver and they're like, "Oh, he's 6'4"? He must be a receiver. We don't take those in the first."
I mean, we have the fastest linebacker in the NFL. Like Savage runs like a 4.3. It's awesome.
Joe Barry
Gee,
can settle
Gee,
our-
you remember that? You remember when we were watching tape together, and I was like, he's like, I don't know why Savage is doing so bad and he's grading out so poorly. So we watched some tape together one night, and I'm like,
That's right.
is Savage making the play over like
He's-
Quay?
He is.
Like, Like
he was
it's literally
constantly
like
coming in front of the linebackers and making all the tackles. It's like he's a linebacker. That's why his grades are bad.
he's a linebacker, and I'm like,
and
what
Rudy,
is happening?
and that's why Rudy Ford was so good and such a perfect fit because he's a freaking linebacker. He
'Cause he's
comes
a
in and
linebacker.
smashes people.
That's all they do. Like
That's
the
all he
safeties
does.
are playing ahead of the middle linebackers.
You want a safety to succeed in this scheme? Make him a linebacker, and he'll do the job better.
I think we got to put Quay back
Technically.
there.
Yeah.
Just a disclaimer, so that somebody who's a big football genius doesn't come in and lecture us.
Get back
Oh,
to
geez.
46.
Here we go. Here we go. Big time.
Technically,
Are you talking about Clayton? Because that's kind of rude.
I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just saying people in general.
Okay.
Technically, Joe Barry's defense does use a position that they call the star, and that's
Oh, yeah,
basically what we're
sure.
describing. So we know that. You don't have to lecture us about
Yeah.
what
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. We know that.
Yeah, this is a joke about
This
just
is
making
funny.
all the safeties
Yeah.
linebackers. So
No, but
if
they
you
are
thought about making
linebackers.
that statement, you're
Yeah.
an idiot and leave the stream.
We know.
Look,
But my
we all
question
know.
is, should we go to the 46? Seems about right?
So what about
I feel like we
Devondre
should go
now?
play the 46
Yeah.
defense. 6 linebackers.
There's no
Might as well. I think we already are.
Yeah.
this is 46. What do you not understand about what's happening?
Did you not hear this conversation?
Jesus Christ!
This is what we're running.
Ah,
Sometimes you gotta
linebackers.
say it though.
This is why
because-
Preston is in coverage on wide receivers. We don't have corners. We have extra linebackers. Why do you care where we line
That
up?
would be Joe Barry's ultimate
linebacker's a
wet dream
linebacker's a
is-
linebacker.
Man.
Outside linebackers all along the defensive line, outside linebackers at corner, and then inside linebackers at safety, and you're good.
Joe Barry like saw the offensive line and how they're able to like shift around a lot, and he's like, "That's just my whole defense."
I just have 11 linebackers.
Just have 11 linebackers, different size linebackers, but it doesn't matter where they're lined up. They just got to do the job. Preston Smith, if you're lined up outside, you're a corner. Sucks to suck, dude. You're in the NFL. You get
You're
paid
a-
the big bucks.
We got to call you a corner.
This is great because I remember when I was trying to learn what the heck the Vic Fangio defense was, like a big part of it was that you would too old for this says LS doesn't stand for long snapper anymore. It's line safety.
I think Drew D's comment's really good too. I can't wait to see the all 20 film.
The all 20 film. I didn't even catch that.
Oh man.
They're like,
20 film.
Oh,
they're like, Matt, what's going on with the safeties? He's like, I don't know how to go watch the tape. He goes to watch the tape. The safeties aren't even on it.
oh,
I mean, honestly, if you look at PFF, all of our safeties got 70s because that's all they. Or what is it? 6? What do you get if you just show up and you just don't do anything?
60.
60.
Our safeties are 60s across the board. They weren't even there.
Yep. Sees a 60 on there. 0 snaps. What?
0 snaps.
Wow.
They're literally in the starting lineup on the depth chart.
That's why it's the all 20.
Did you guys see
As
that
Drew D said.
the Commanders released their long snapper and his name is Cameron Cheeseman?
We need to talk about why they released him. He double bounced a snap to the punter on Sunday. 2 bounces. Punter gets absolutely smoked, has to walk to the locker room a la Trevor Lawrence with an injury, and then he short hops the holder on an extra point that they miss.
His name is
On the
Cheeseman.
Why did he
extra
get cut?
point?
Yeah.
It's
Why did
5
he get
yards,
cut?
bro.
I can't believe
that's
it.
also a funny visual. We've had a lot of funny visuals
Oh.
today.
Go watch the all 20. You'll see it. It's right there. The 2 hop to the punter.
They run an all 20. They got a 20 out there too. That's cool, man.
Might as well. He was just a line safety, clearly.
Okay.
That's what it
Well,
was.
That's the problem. Linebackers aren't supposed to be snapping the ball.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, let's- this is
I can just picture Joe Barry's walking up to Rich Bisaccia to like
He's like, I
Lecture him how
can
to run
fix
special
all
teams.
your problems. Just replace everybody with linebackers.
no, your
I'm
problem.
almost
You got all these
certain
stupid
that
safeties
Quay
on
Walker can
special
kick.
teams. You need more linebackers.
yeah. Try swapping your safeties and your linebackers. That's
Yeah.
what I do. Just see if that fixes it.
Let's see if McDuffie can kick. That's just
Whenever you're in a rut,
I
just
bet he
make all
can.
your safeties play linebacker and your linebackers play safeties. Usually that'll shake them up a bit.
What about
The
your
Panthers
defensive
had-
line? That's what I said.
The Panthers had a defensive player kick on Sunday. They did.
Nice.
They were following the Joe Barry model of special teams.
There you go.
So
Oh, it's good when you can laugh about it.
All right. Debate topic.
It hurts so
Mhm.
good.
we're far. This
can any of you
train,
guys
this train went
make-
over a cliff. Okay.
Can any of you guys make an argument for why we should keep Jerry Montgomery?
I don't even know who that is.
Okay, that's a no.
He didn't show up on the all 20. I don't want him.
I don't know.
Is
Can
that
he
guy-
play linebacker?
Is that guy a
Linebacker? Get outta
linebacker?
here.
Let's go. If he's not a linebacker, we don't need him. Is he like the defensive backs coach?
Close.
He's the defensive line coach. So
Oh.
That would count for outside linebacker.
actually, I think his official title is defensive line coach and run game coordinator, which has been since 2020.
I have to say he has been coordinating a very good opposing running game.
He has
So
been just
he-
I
killing
think
it.
he's done well.
He really
that's the
schemes
confusion.
up the run against us. He
like,
schemes
am I
that run up
supposed to
against
be-
us so well.
Am I supposed
I-
to help them run the ball?
I'm the run game coordinator.
Kind of weird, but I guess.
Watch me make Tommy DeVito look like a great runner. I'm going to show you.
He's over there bragging about how good of a job he did. Did you see
Look
that?
how good that was.
The camera pans over, and Jerry Montgomery is smoking a cigarette on the sideline. Like, oh, I'm so good at my
It's
job.
as good as it gets right here.
So about that raise, huh? That's a no, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think we.
Jake, you don't want to
Anybody
bring
in the
back
comments?
Jerry Montgomery?
Is that D-backs?
He might.
Is he still around? Is that something gray? Is he still around?
He's gone.
No, he's in Atlanta.
Okay.
There needs to be a philosophy shift on defense. I think that's to be
That would be
serious for
nice.
2 seconds. I think
Is it just like we need to be like a different team, or
we need
More
to
or
be
less.
indifferent a lot of things.
Probably don't want to
potentially.
just get a defensive coordinator with the exact same coaches that have been here for 40 years, kind of thing.
What
would
if
be
we
my
just
thought.
make Kirk Olivadotti the defensive
but gee,
coordinator?
some of these guys have tenure. You know, it's
That's
gonna be
true.
a nightmare to get rid of
That's
them.
true. The
Matt
Packers are the
LaFleur's
only
had,
team in
Matt
the
LaFleur's
NFL
had
that-
him over
that
for
uses
dinner at his
tenure.
house. Matt
That's
LaFleur's had
why-
him at dinner at his house, guys.
Yeah, if
No.
he has an Eddie over for dinner, you can't be the DC. Like you can't. So you know who it is. We already know who the next one's gonna be. Brandon Staley, come on down.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see
Would
why
that
we
be
can't
the
have-
worst thing?
I don't see why we can't have Mike LaFleur come be the defensive coordinator. I know that like offense is his thing, but like defense hasn't been anybody's thing.
I bet he
Who
could
has
be a
coached
good run
defense
game
for it.
coordinator.
Our run game coordinators really killed it though for setting up the run against us.
Jerry
Yeah.
Montgomery's
So,
like,
like-
he's got this. I can vouch
Imagine-
for him.
Imagine if we got a run game coordinator for our offense.
Dude,
That would
what
be
if
great.
Jerry Montgomery became
just gotta
our
flip.
offensive run game coordinator?
That's what I'm
Holy
saying.
crap.
Gotta
Dude,
con-
he's
yeah,
so good at figuring out how to make the run work.
Yeah.
What if we,
At this point, he should.
what if we made him our run game coordinator? So
He's had to see. He's had to look at the all 20 and be like, "Man, this run game is so
let
good.
me
I can
let
do
me
this.
show
I
you
know what
what
it looks
everybody
like."
else does really well.
We need a coach that
I
can
can't
find a
stop it.
way to take advantage of the other defensive line and make them suck. Do you know how to make defensive linemen suck by chance? Oh, you do? Okay, you can have the job.
Yeah. Now every time you look at a run and you go, well, there's no way to stop that.
What do you
Have
want me
a-
to do about that? I mean, you
Have us
push our freaking guys
have,
out.
have
We
us
got-
do that one.
I don't think
You know
our
what I
11 linebackers can stop this. To be honest, I'm not sure.
We're getting hit in the backfield on every single play, and Jerry's
We have
like,
9 linebackers, not
I don't
11.
know.
We don't have
I'm
11
just gonna
guys on
say a
defense.
320-pound linebacker, not a great matchup.
Yeah.
Robert Sala,
Man.
anyone?
Yeah,
I would
he's
take
not.
that, absolutely.
He's not exactly the Fangio tree, which I think would be promising.
Yeah.
there's no way Salah's getting fired though.
No,
I don't think so
he
either.
won't.
Oh, it's really sad. Yeah.
No, Aaron Rodgers said on the McAfee show he backs all 3 of them, right? And he's basically the co-owner now
He-
of the
he-
Jets,
yeah.
so it's not happening.
It's funny, but it's
He-
literally true. There's
he
no way
is the
Rodgers is
GM.
going to back him, and then they're going to fire him.
No.
No, he's the GM now.
Yeah.
That was
Look at me.
contingent.
Look
I'm
at me,
pretty
Joe
sure, on that
Douglas.
trade.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now.
I am the captain now.
Here's the question that I have wanted somebody in one of these press conferences to ask Matt LaFleur for a long time, but especially over the last 2 weeks. I want him to describe what a coordinator is supposed to do in Green Bay. What are the responsibilities? Because, and I literally Googled what are a defensive coordinator's responsibilities because I wanted to make sure I wasn't forgetting anything. And here's the list of things that I came up with. Scouting the upcoming opponent and game planning.
Definitely
I
doesn't
don't
do
think
that.
we have any evidence that
No.
that is being done to any
No.
kind of a competent degree in Green Bay.
Our scout team is only linebackers.
I think they're like, are we playing Mahomes this week? Yep, every week. Okay, great.
Yep.
Overseeing that the staff and players are performing to the head coach's standard, which we're hearing from Matt LaFleur
Yeah.
that that's not happening.
Yeah, he has to go in
Suck
and do
on
it
that,
himself.
Devondre
So
Campbell.
I guess not.
For those counting in audio form, that would be 0 for 2. Okay. So
We have installing.
Can we get
the
a
scheme.
graphic?
We have installing the scheme.
Just
Matt
well,
LaFleur literally was
Literally, we can,
ranting
yes.
this week about, hey, there's crap that's supposed to be a day one install that none of our guys are doing. So I don't think we can check that box.
okay, great.
Making adjustments. Is that happening?
No, I have
think
seen
so
them.
you're-
I have.
you're
I have.
ticking
I
us
have.
about them.
I have technically seen them run different plays.
It's not the same thing.
Verdict.
Definitely the same thing.
Pretty close.
What if we shift to cover 3 instead of cover 2?
Eh,
I bet we'll stop that. Well,
All right. And lastly, calling plays on defense. I don't think
I
But he
he's
does-
called
I've seen
plays.
anything-
he does do that.
He does
He
do
doesn't
that.
do situational.
Oh, I have a
play
question.
calling.
Whoa, back it up.
Doesn't
Is
call
it
timeouts
called
when you need.
called good plays or just call plays?
No, the question is he doing a good
No,
Good
job?
is very
what did Google
subjective.
say though?
Yeah, what did Google say?
Did Google say call plays?
It just said call
Okay.
plays. It did mention
Any play.
situational play
One.
calling.
Then he gets one for that.
He does get
Yeah,
one. That's
one
a
for
fact.
4. Okay.
But situational play calling, he doesn't do that. So like we're 1 for 5.
Well,
Way to
now
go,
we're
Joe.
not. That's not Google. That's not Google. Though.
This is the most elite ticker there has ever been. On a stream, by the way.
You need to put Joe
This is
Barry.
the best ticker.
You need to write breaking news. Joe Barry 1 for 4. Nobody's gonna understand what it means unless they were listening.
Drew says Joe Barry hates safety so much. Mark Murphy, former safety in the NFL, is forced to retire.
That makes sense.
Oh,
He is retiring though, right? Because he is like at his max term.
yeah.
In 2025, yeah.
Joe Barry's like, I can't even convert you to linebacker. You gotta go. You're out of here.
I think in my
I
perfect
personally, I
world-
love that the ticker makes no sense. I find that to be perfect for the show.
Breaking
Joe
news.
Barry-
Joe Barry 1 and
It's
4.
1 and 5, not 1 and 4. You missed one. It's 1 and 5.
All right.
I think
Whatever.
I thought you kind of made
I
up
think you
that
need the
last one.
slash. I think you need
You,
the slash.
did you slide one in there? I
One
missed
for 4. He did slide one in
1
there.
or 5.
But it should be 1-4-4.
So maybe do a slash.
What was the what was the fifth one?
Well, I was trying to say situational play calling, and you guys made
No,
me break up into
we
play
made a
calling.
ruling on that.
We're
That-
following
that doesn't
Google.
count. You can't just make stuff up just because it didn't go the way you want, JJ.
Well, okay,
That's
there was
life.
one more that I didn't include because it seemed a little repetitive.
All right,
And
let's
that
hear
was
it.
game planning. I thought that was kind of the same thing as the scouting,
Yeah, I probably.
Ooh, that is.
but it technically was listed as a separate thing on my Google search.
I bet. I
I
bet.
think it's different
I bet he does game plan.
because scouting is looking at the other team. Game plan is what we do with our team, right?
He
Which is a
definitely
good
does.
thing.
And my
He's-
question
Uh-huh.
is
take
Barry doing a good job with any of this?
Not
Well,
with that, but he
you-
does.
You,
get
we're,
one
I,
point.
we're doing an objective thing. We're not saying good job, bad job. We're saying is
Okay,
he
so-
even doing it?
Let's put this. Let's
Well,
put
in
it.
that case, he's
Let's
like,
put
no.
it this way.
Like,
Let's
is
put
this
it this
guy
way.
doing
He's
his
doing all these
job?
things.
I don't know if he's doing all of them. He has.
GK,
to-
are you
he's-
honestly saying he made adjustments?
All right, he's 5-1.
I think he's. I think we can definitely confirm he has done 2 of the 5. He has,
He calls
maybe
plays.
maybe 3, but
He does call plays.
he definitely has to game plan. Like there has to
Game
be
plan.
that during a week.
Now, hang on a
You got
second. He
meetings.
doesn't have to. You don't have to.
Wait,
Well,
what
Yeah,
is
they're
the
but
doing
he's
game
not-
meetings
plan?
about something.
Yeah,
Is the
they're
game
doing
plan just
something.
to rotate linebackers and safeties? Is that
Well,
the
it
game
might
plan?
be, but that
Doesn't matter.
Objectively,
Doesn't matter what the plan is.
objectively, it is a plan.
He game plans
That's
before
two.
the season. He just handed over the game plan. And he was just calling.
Was it
Call
a
plays.
I'm not
plan
asking
like
if it's a
General
good game
Custer? Yeah, probably, but it's still a plan.
plan.
Do
I'm
we
not
do we
asking
think
if it's a
that they're
good game
doing
plan.
scouting?
No,
No.
No. Okay.
There can't be.
I think they think they're playing the Chiefs every week. I do.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to be. I mean, that's the
this
thing
team
is
was
like,
built to
like,
stop
could you
the
imagine? Could you imagine
nobody else.
2nd and 18? Could you imagine blitzing? Could you imagine?
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes would tear you apart.
The
He
answer's
would
no,
tear
Steve.
you
Not
apart,
yet.
guys.
You can't imagine. Nobody can.
So you can't do that to anyone else because Patrick Mahomes would tear you apart if you did that.
This defense is custom crafted to stop the Chiefs and the Bears and nobody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like the Lovey Smith Bears all over again. Like our job
Now-
is to beat the Bears and nothing else.
But I have a question though. So how did Tommy DeVito run for 72 yards?
Because
he's
Jerry
not a Bear.
Montgomery called a great game for Tommy. That's why. That's it.
He coordinated the shit out of his running.
Joe Barry's not 6-0. You a-hole.
Joe Barry 6-0.
No, we said
I
he's
think-
not scouting. We said he doesn't scout. So
That's
that's
true. 5 and
gotta
1.
have
5 and
one
1.
in the L
I'm
column.
almost certain.
Also, it's supposed to be a slash.
I bet there was one morning they came in for a meeting and he goes, "All right, this week we're playing the Chiefs."
That's witches
And it's
are
like,
real?
No, that was last week. He's like, "This week we're playing the Chiefs." He just kept going.
Before the Chiefs game, Barry calls a meeting with the players, and they're like, "What the heck is this? Like, why are we meeting with the defensive
meeting?
coordinator? We never talked to the defensive coordinator."
Telling me we
He's
can
like,
do
"All
these
right, I got a
not on
game
Zoom?
plan." They're like, "A what?"
Yeah, it's possible.
He's actually like, this is what we've been practicing for. Be like, we've been playing games all season. He goes, this is what we've been practicing for.
Drew
That's why that logo's been up all year. This is the game.
Drew says
Okay?
it amazes me that Barry is willing to put the edges in coverage on wide receivers and not even try to disguise it.
Dude, when you see Preston just splitting out wide
This
and,
is the-
and no timeout, like Matt LaFleur calls a timeout because someone looked kind of funny. He saw a safety move like a little. He's like, whoa, timeout. That doesn't work. Joe Barry's like, is that Preston Smith out on coverage on Tariq Hill? That'll be fine. What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
No, basically what he's telling you there, though, I think, not to defend Joe Barry, he's like, listen, we can't stop him anyway. Okay, we're just hoping Tua doesn't.
What do
see-
you want me to do?
I can put Darnell Savage on him.
He
He's
goes,
our fastest guy. He's
yeah,
not.
he's our
covering-
he's our fastest linebacker, dude.
Yeah, and he's not covering him. So why don't I put the slowest guy out there? And I'm a winner everywhere else on the field,
Yeah.
right?
He actually like specifically puts Preston on him and
Yeah.
says, "Press man."
Yeah, it's like, how can you handle this? Can you handle the 35-inch arms?
And he
that
goes,
Preston
he
Smith
goes,
has to play
think about it. Think how long that dude's
Yeah.
arms are.
If he just never gets off press, it's
I-
brilliant.
Joe Barry wants
We've made the
a
game
tackle
plan.
to play
if the
corner,
Packers-
so he can
if
just
the-
stand in front of him, hold his arms
Right.
out.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Make
get
the
David
receiver run around.
Bakhtiari out there and just be like, where are you
Good
going?
God. Do
You
you
ain't
know
going
what?
nowhere.
We
Do
are
you
a
know
couple
what
Vikings
Joe Barry
lost.
could have done with Julius Peppers? Mother of God.
I think that Bakhtiari could do that because he wouldn't have to run or like really do anything. Just hold his arms out.
Bakhtiari would be a fantastic linebacker.
This is thing. Joe Barry should watch the
Slash
show if
corner.
he stays on, because there's a chance if the Bills run the table and Green Bay finishes out of Minnesota, they're playing the Dolphins next year at home. Big opportunity right here. Should be listening to this. Preston Smith in coverage. Press coverage on Tyreek.
Yeah.
I mean, if he
Win
didn't think about doing
everywhere
this
else.
last year,
rush for it to him.
opportunity.
You'll get at him sometimes, probably.
The serious answer to Drew's question is there needs to be like philosophy change. It's why they it's why they added somebody like Van Ness, because he's athletic enough to drop into coverage. Now, should they
Long arms.
go light at one of the outside linebacker spots and let a Dallas Turner type drop into coverage? Probably.
Does anyone have Madden?
Did you see? Too old for this. Said if Tyreek Hill was good at football, he'd be a linebacker.
So Barry's like, I don't know if he can play linebacker on my team.
You're never gonna win a Hall of Fame unless you can play linebacker. You know who could play linebacker? CMC. That guy could play linebacker.
It's like, Ryan, you did a rant, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago about how like there
He
hasn't
did
been
what?
any good linebackers in the NFL since like 2019 or something like that. And Joe Barry's like, his personal mission is to change that.
Since,
He's gonna have
Or
it all.
to take the one position that has no
literally
talent
allowed
and make an entire
murderers in
defense out of it.
The last time we had a good linebacker in the NFL was the last time we like had murderers in the
Yeah.
NFL. Is that what you meant?
Let's find the position devoid of talent and build an entire defense out of it.
Well, I tweeted something about Kirk Olivadotti today about him not being a good linebackers coach, and then I sat back and thought about it, and I was like, well, I feel like, with Dre and Quay, it's been decent, the last couple of years. Like, am I being too hard on him? So then I tried to think of like, what was it before then that was like frustrating me so much? So I wrote down like all the linebackers we had because Olivadotti had Blake Martinez, Chris Barnes, Kamal Martin, Christian Kirksey, Ty Summers, and Oren Burks, and like all of them were just dog crap.
Yeah.
So I think that I've refound my frustration with Kirk by remembering all those years of crappy linebacker play.
Which of them did I hear recently? There was somebody that I was like, I thought that guy was like dead.
Oren
No way he
Burks.
was dead. Oren Burks. Was it?
Or- I mean, Blake
Oh, yeah.
Martinez has been back in the news again because he's broke.
Because he's
Yeah,
stealing.
he's broke.
He's like
Right.
doing fake Pokemon cards. No.
Yeah.
I think it was like, or it was like somebody
It's
who
Oren
like I
Burks
was
is-
like, that
Burks
dude will
is-
never play another game ever in the NFL. And then like he's like,
He's got like a
starting.
92 grade.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like
San
starting to be like
Francisco.
super awesome.
Right. Yeah, the Niners unlocked him.
Third round pick.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but he's not
Insane.
on the same team though. But that's
I think
Yeah, I know the curse doesn't transfer.
Oh yeah, no, it was still there after that. But yeah.
I think we need a 49er or a Saint coach
That would be
come
dope.
be our defensive coordinator. We need a 49er position coach or a Saint
take-
position coach.
I'd take a Baltimore.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't like Baltimore.
I mean, Baltimore is fine. They're like the number 2 defense in the league right now or something. But like, one of the things that I've been thinking about is like which
Baby's up.
defenses,
Boys.
All right,
which defenses around the NFL don't have like amazing players, but are still just getting the job done. And like, it's got to be the
Cleveland.
Saints. Like pound for pound, the Saints compared to all the other top defenses, they don't stack up roster wise the same way. Like the Niners have Bosa, and they're stacked at like every position. Like the Saints just set like an all-time NFL record over the last year and a half for the most consecutive games of not allowing an opponent to score 20 points. And they have like, I mean, I don't want to like crap on their players.
But
And
I
like,
will.
Cam is good, but it's just not the same thing as other teams around the league who you think of as like, you don't have a Jalen Ramsey and an Aaron Donald in New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm like looking up what PFF thinks of all these guys this year.
They
Holy
kind of like New Orleans. I mean, just as far, I mean, they don't have like, so they don't have they do have Cam Jordan. I was gonna say they don't have the pass rusher, but they got a bunch of guys in the 80s.
Yeah, but
I-
that's the whole
so-
point. Everybody's playing well. You can't look across the defense and go, well,
Okay, I
they're
see what
good
you're saying.
because of these 2 guys or these 3 guys. Like,
I think there's
come to
one.
Green Bay where we have just like insanely talented players at every position and just use those guys to their potential, because you're getting the most out of the guys who are in New Orleans and they're all playing really well.
Yeah.
But you could almost make that case with Baltimore too, because I literally just finished the podcast doing the same thing, and I had a similar thought process. Baltimore has a lot of good players, but a lot of these guys have not been very good players historically. They're very like Roquan. which is why I kind of settled on I really like their linebacker coach. Patrick Queen, who is garbage, is a really good linebacker right now. Like they got a bunch of guys so they got a bunch of good players, but a lot of these guys have not always been very good players.
Yeah.
Zach Orr is in his second
Yes.
season as the Ravens inside linebackers coach. Prior to joining Baltimore, he spent 1 season with the Jaguars. What year was that? 20.
So he was a player as
2021.
soon as like 2016 and is already an inside linebacker.
Yeah, I was going to say,
coach.
wait a minute, that sounded familiar.
Yeah. So he has just been like flying up the ranks, which is another reason why I like him. Plus, as soon as he got out, he went directly to Baltimore as a quality control coach for 4 years. And I love that. He's in there
So-
just like breaking down all the little details and intricacies of a defense and everything else.
Yeah.
His
And then he
1
jumps into
year,
position coaches.
Yeah, with Baltimore, like I think adding Roquan Smith obviously made them better, unlocked his full potential. But I think in Roquan Smith unlocking his full potential, you got Queen playing the correct position, which was not having the green dot on the helmet, and he looks a lot better. You get Hamilton, right? Madubuike is having a career year for them. Got 13 sacks.
Yeah. he's
Like
real good right now.
it doesn't make it's wild what Baltimore's doing, and
Yep.
like they have young talent. Like Hamilton's
Well,
very good.
It was
But,
funny
like-
too because I went through. So I looked at here's the full thing. So I looked at Cleveland first because they're the number 1 team, and I had a similar thought in terms of it's really impressive because they have Myles Garrett and nothing. Like there's really nothing else in Cleveland that's that impressive.
corners. They got some good corners.
Not
Yeah, I was gonna
really. Denzel
Really?
Ward is terrible.
Emerson's
Newsome
not
is
good?
bad. Like the two
Yeah.
first-round picks they have are like low 60s. They're not good.
Yeah, it looks like Emerson's
Um,
high 60s.
Well, like
There's-
that to me is a little bit of a negative, though.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like the same thing either way.
yeah,
Like,
Green
it's-
Bay, yeah.
Wow,
so
there's
it's-
a lot of-
That's why I didn't like the Cleveland thing, because unless you're getting their actual defensive coordinator who's turning this garbage into something great, I don't want the
Right.
position coaches who aren't able to do anything with these guys. But in
You don't like the
Baltimore,
strategy of bringing in Greg Williams from Arizona, who have always had awful corners, to come coach our corners, and then they all fall off. You don't like that strategy?
but I went
Not
over to
sure.
Baltimore then, who's the number 2, and it's like, all right, well, they've got the first guy that stands out is the assistant head coach / defensive line coach, just because of the position. They've also got Chris Hewitt, who's the pass game coordinator / secondary coach. So those are the 2 guys who have like those elevated titles that I like right away.
This is
But then I was
Baltimore.
like, all right, let's real quick look at the other guys. And it's like, well, the inside linebacker coach, you look at the inside linebackers, they're playing phenomenal. Then there was who else? The safeties coach, I think. And then they got who's the guy that's like in his second year, that's Hamilton.
Yeah.
So
Good
this is-
Lord, that guy is freaking special. And the other guys are good. So it's like every coach, it basically came to the point where it's like any defensive coach I'll take. Like every single one of these guys is
Yeah.
excelling. All of them are doing a fantastic job of getting the best out of these guys. They got a great culture. It is a great defense. I really like it. But I settled on Orr just because I love he's like 31 years old, and as he's a former player, which all these guys are former players, which
Yeah,
probably has
yeah.
something to do with it.
Yeah.
But he's 31 years old, and he's just skyrocketing up the ranks in terms of like he went from a player to a scrub to an inside linebackers coach. And I guarantee with what Roquan and Patrick Queen are doing, he will not just be an inside linebackers coach next year.
Their website
Yeah.
is so goofy. I cannot
It's so
find.
stupid. It's horrible.
I can't. So Anthony Weaver is assistant head coach, defensive line.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then all the
Yeah.
rest are just kind of lumped together and mixed all together.
So it seems like it's Chris Hewitt, Zach Orr, or Anthony Weaver.
So we've got a few. Yeah,
What's
Chris Hewitt is the
Aaron
pass
Rizzi
game
up to?
coordinator.
Possible to bring him.
You got Chris Smith, the outside linebackers coach. Zach Orr. And then you got Denard Wilson as the defensive backs coach.
Okay.
And then
You gotta be
the Anthony Weaver.
Wow. Just reading like the stuff that the Ravens put on their websites about these 3 position coaches that we're looking at, and like just the stats to brag about. It's like number 2 this in the league, number 1 this in the
Oh, I
league, number
know.
2 this, like in every freaking category.
Right.
Here's the problem though. If Matt LaFleur goes and tries to target a Ravens defensive position coach to bring in as his defensive coordinator, I feel like these guys are all geniuses except for he's going to find the one who's getting carried by everybody else.
Could be.
It's possible.
Which is kind of why I lean toward like the guys at the top, especially Weaver, because he's been around a long time. So a former player, plus he's been doing it a long time. You know, I mean, it's more high risk to go with a guy like Orr who's just getting his feet wet, but Weaver, he kind of checks all the boxes. Plus, it's a little bit of a safer pick. I think the only negative was he was a DC for like 1 year, and it was bad. But it was Houston where they had nobody in like 2020, so it's like I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
Right. And also, it looks like that may have happened. Like not at the traditional part of the year, like maybe
Right. Yeah, it was something weird about it.
Yeah.
He might have got elevated or something. I'm not sure.
Experience at defensive coordinator seems to be the way to go. Right, because you see Fangio doing pretty well. They've kind of gotten the ship righted a little bit in Miami, but all of like the Fangio disciples that are getting into, you know, some defensive coordinator spots are not doing well. So it just feels like experience is like the best, probably the best quality, just because you've seen a lot in the league, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you've coached up to this point. Like you've seen the revolution of the mobile QB, right? The creation stuff, and you've seen offenses get more vertical. You've seen RPOs, like you've seen all that stuff, and you go, okay, so how do I combat that? And you've got a lot.
So this is what Weaver did. He was the defensive line coach for 3 years, and then in 2020, which was the year that they just like fell to crap, Weaver was promoted to both defensive line coach and defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He replaced Romeo Crennel, who had been the interim head coach when Bill O'Brien got fired.
By the way, Packer superfan, I don't know what that means, so I appreciate the $1.99, but I don't know how to answer your question.
Those look
wait,
like
what is the
PFF
part above
grades.
it? When
Is
Joe
that
packs his bags, he needs to make
is
sure.
that Roquan and Patrick Queen?
No, it's definitely not that.
F grades.
It's PFF grades.
Right.
Is it pass defense and run defense?
Roquan and Patrick Queen are 86.4 and 77.4.
That's absurd. It says Rashid's overall PFF
it
grades.
is. Yeah, it is.
So Rashid Walker, so he was the number 1 highest graded tackle in football this past week, or at least pass blocker. It's one of the two, either overall or pass blocking. But
I think it was
since week 10, he's the 4th highest graded tackle in the league, and since week 8, he's the 6th highest graded offensive lineman in the league. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Nice to see that. I thought that
nice.
he got benched at the end of the Giants game. Am I delusional? I thought he got benched for Yash. Was that just for like
I feel like it's been every game the last like 3 or 4
see.
games. Like Yash is out there for a little while. I don't know if it's injuries or if they just don't know what they're doing and they just keep swapping them out. Like every game, Yash plays like 10 snaps. And so I don't know why that keeps happening at left tackle.
Not sure.
Because Rashid played 51 snaps in that game, and we only ran like 55 offensive plays or something.
Yeah, I mean that would be close to every snap. Yeah, I don't. The thing with Rashid is, yes, it could be him rounding into form, or it could be, you know, he's kind of just got this stretch of nice play. It worries me that they would be like, all right, well then he is the future, but I do think like at the same time Goody will still, if Bakhtiari kind of like medically just is done, they'll still probably still address it just to have enough depth there Because Yash is a free agent, isn't he?
Yes, I
Mhm.
believe he is.
So
I feel like this is the draft where, unless you're going to draft a safety or a corner, which Goody likes to do, like 60% of his first round picks have been defensive backs, something like that.
do it again.
Or maybe that's if you do Ted Thompson and Brian Gutekunst. But I feel like this is the draft where the offense needs some solidifying just at a couple of positions, more so than the defense. I just don't know where you can look at on the defense other than defensive backs and say it makes sense to add a piece, because like you're fine with what we got at linebacker and don't really want to draft that in the first round again anyways.
I think they're going to draft one of their first 5.
You think you're drafting what?
I think they're going to take a linebacker with one of their first 5 picks. It's
Yeah, but
weird
it doesn't
feeling
have to be in the
already.
first
Oh
round.
no, I know. Yeah. No, there's not one. that should
But
be a
so
top
so
15
you
pick.
specified first 5. We have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. So you're
Yeah.
saying you think
Yeah, I think they will.
on day 1 or 2 we're drafting a linebacker
Probably day 2. Yeah,
to replace Campbell?
I think so. Yes.
We never
don't-
really finished that Campbell thing, but it does feel like we're getting some Zedarius vibes, and it kind of seems like it's going to end the same way with
I mean,
there's a disgruntled player, and
Dre has done this before,
yeah,
but like so had Zedarius, and then they finally just moved on from him. But they were interested in bringing Zedarius back if he was willing to do it at the price that they wanted. But
Mhm.
he also just wanted out.
Yeah.
So like
No,
maybe
that's
you just
true.
got to catch Campbell on the right day to where he's not ticked off at you and wanting to leave.
And I get it. Like frustration can breed all kind of reactions, right? Like I'm sure he is not pleased with how the defense has looked the last 2 weeks, right? Like I get it. Like frustration, it happens in this sport. You saw Mahomes go absolutely bonkers on the sideline against the Bills. He hasn't really done that a lot. Like that's happened. Like AJ Brown today was on Twitter going at it with fans like over stuff. Like could just be some frustration. Vent a little bit, and maybe just kind of move on to the next week and hopefully kind of right the ship. But yeah, there's a chance. I mean, I think there's I don't know how much left on the deal, and what the cap number looks like and the dead money looks like if they move on. But it does seem like they could go a different direction in terms of finding a coverage linebacker, but we'll see. I didn't mean to get you off topic, JJ, on the first round, but
Not off topic at all. I mean, this is totally the topic.
But I know you're talking about DB, and I don't know if you were saying like they should look offense at 11 if they don't do DB. Was that kind of where you were going with that?
I mean, I feel like the number one thing on the roster holding the team back is just like offensive line.
Okay.
The big problem is that like it's guard that we have the most question about.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but like you also need to replace David Bakhtiari.
Yeah. Yeah, that it's going to be tough because I
Just
know
get a wide
that-
receiver,
Yeah, I agree.
Could you imagine this is the year they get a wide receiver? And everybody's like,
right? When we actually have all
What?
these other
If
needs.
it's
we like Malik Heath. Why did you draft a wide receiver?
It's like
By the way, Jake-
we're going to upgrade at Malik. By the way, Neighbors instead of Heath. Thanks.
I don't know if you listened to the podcast where I did a mock draft, but was I correct in assuming that in that spot, assuming Neighbors was available, which I know you think he wouldn't be, that would be the direction you would have gone?
I would go that way. Yes.
Okay, all right.
I would go
I
that
thought
way.
so.
To me, I don't want to get on a rant on this necessarily, but
enough.
like, there's a chance that we're sitting here in 5 years and we're like, wow, Malik Neighbors was the best player in that draft. Like, I think there's that possibility. Like, I'll spoil it now. He's ranked above both QBs for me right now. Like
Whew, that's
he
sexy.
is an insanely talented player with so
I-
much room to grow.
It's
really
very easy to
scary.
talk me into ranking players above whoever the consensus quarterbacks
Oh
are.
yeah,
That's
no,
true.
Marvin Harrison's better than both QB. I mean, like that seems. I
But
think
is
people
Marvin
will
Harrison
probably
better
be
than
there.
Malik Neighbors?
I think Neighbors has a higher ceiling than Marvin Harrison Jr. does.
Interesting. And you're saying that
Yeah.
based on athletics?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the physical tools is where you turn that into some type of refinement. I think the one thing about receiver I think that matters that people overlook is explosiveness, right? And you kind of saw that with JSN's slow start. He's not overly explosive. Who is Zay Flowers? That's why it just started clicking for Flowers pretty quickly, right? You see someone like Tank Dell with that kind of explosiveness, even though he was tiny, didn't matter, right? When they're playing, when they're in this type of era with defenses playing a lot more off, like he can thrive. So explosiveness matters in how you cut, whether it's at the break point of your route, whether it's at the line of scrimmage, right? If you're a violent cutter like that and explosive in the short area, there's your Garrett Wilson, right? Like explosiveness matters, and Neighbors has that. Harrison has enough with the separation quicks and the release. Like he has all of that, right? All of the pre-catch stuff is so refined with him. But Neighbors in like a 10 to 15 yard area with the explosiveness, like goodness sakes. Like it just he looks he has this sort of Debo-esque thing to him where he's just like, all right, I'll find the right spot in zone coverage, right? Get the ball in my hand. And now I'm just going to turn into, Debo after the catch, where it's like, oh, that was the wrong angle. Should have taken a better one against me, buddy. I'll see you 70 yards later when I'm flipping the ball to the ref or celebrating with my teammates. And then he wins above the rim just, as close as anybody can get to Harrison in that regard as well. Like I just don't, and he hasn't really like rounded out like, oh, I need to work on, my inside stem is like 8 yards inside. Like I gotta fix that a little bit. But he's explosive enough to defeat man coverage where like you fix a lot of the like the technical parts of the route. Like it's gonna be a problem. If he figures out everything, holy smokes. If he doesn't quite figure out everything, it's still really good.
I like Neighbors' consistency.
Yeah.
My frustration with Debo going back to college and then especially in San Francisco, the dude is inconsistent as heck. He'll just blow your mind for several games and then just turns in just stinker after stinker after stinker for like a while, and nobody talks about it. Nobody notices because like the NFL memory is like it's such a window that like by the time he's kind of gotten through this like 8-game stretch of just being just the worst, now he's playing fantastic football again. So the time that anybody starts to check in on like, hey, what's going on with Debo? It's like, are you crazy? Did you see what he did last night? He's insane.
Yeah, I get the consistency thing, but like to me, for Debo, it's the feel and zone. It's the ability to turn a 5-yard hitch into a 25-yard play, which
For sure
is a huge deal and why he's helping Purdy out. I get that. Neighbors, the ability to locate soft spots in zone coverage is a big deal as well. Nobody talks about that enough. Like if you watch Nico Collins his rookie year, be like, what are you doing? Why are you running a 15-yard dig into linebackers? Like it's just like very brain dead things. Then you watch him this year and it's like, okay, well, when he's got man coverage, he can figure that out. That's no problem. Like then he cooks with Stroud playing QB. The reason Puka Nacua is really good right now is because he knows exactly where to run the space. He knows how many steps it's going to take, what the yardage he needs to be against certain coverages, and McVay's got him in the right spot doing so. So like that type of feel is important too, playing that position. The Neighbors already has it. And he's already got the ridiculous explosives to boot, which like Puka doesn't really necessarily have. There's enough speed there, but like Neighbors is just like it's a blink. And the draft is a crapshoot. This could be like one of the worst takes of all time. But like there's just like he is so very good at like the athletic portion of playing receiver but it's also like not just being an athlete, right? There's still like just like super refined things that maybe we don't talk about being refined things as a player, right? We think of all these like cool athletic things you can do as like, oh, he's just a freak. Well, it's no, he's still very detailed in the approach. So there you go.
I had a
I'm
bunch
sure
of
I
comments.
put everybody
and I
to
forgot
sleep.
them all. So
Sorry.
No, I just I
Sorry.
was trying to go back and be like, what was I going to
Sorry.
say? And it's like I forgot. It was a long.
I don't know
time
if it
ago.
was something about the mock draft at 11 or what, like the.
No, it was just neighbors stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I like neighbors. I had something pertaining to with that,
Okay.
but I don't know.
Gotcha. Sorry to put the chat to sleep. Probably.
Did the chat die?
I don't know.
The-
Maybe they
the-
were just listening and they just nodded off.
They're still here. I can see them.
Okay.
I don't know if they know that. They think they're hiding over there, but I can see them still.
Chris said he wants to replace Jair because he's disgruntled. That's what Chris says.
Okay.
Oh, Drew says he's just listening. Okay. No, but like I think the conversation at 11 is very interesting, and I'm working on this pod too. Like it's very weird because you want to replace Bach, right? That's the biggest thing, right? JJ, you kind of said it. Like that's O-line there and guard are like two things you're worried about. At 11, all the Fashanu are gone. JJ, I know you're not a big Fashanu guy at this point, but like those are the two like left tackles, right? Quote unquote. And then you get a Fuaga, you get a Latham, you get a Mims, who are not traditionally Packers types, right? They're a lot bigger. I know they're going to be good athletes, but like at the same time, like the Packers have preferred a certain type at tackle, and they just don't fit it. And so that's where you're like, okay, well, it's not going to be tackle. And you're like, all right, well, it's probably not going to be receiver, right? We know that. We know by now it's not going to be that, right? Is it going to be Bowers? No, probably not. So that's where you get into it. It goes right back to defense. What are we, what are we doing here on defense? It's like, all right, Cooper DeJean. Yes, there's there. I think either Bama corner is going to be like very much in play for them. I really do. I think both Arnold and McKinstry are going to be.
Got to start getting
cool.
into those because there's a lot of guys I like, which leaves just a couple that I either don't like or haven't looked at. And so every time I even think about it, I get depressed. Like, no, it's got to be DeJean. So it's like I just got to I got to start getting into them. I got to get excited about them.
Yeah, I think the Bama corners and Wiggins from Clemson. Obviously, those are the guys on the consensus board where you look in the first and you go, okay, those are probably the DBs, and then you have, DeJean.
Yeah,
Cam Kinchins. If the Packers might do a thing where they go, oh, the previous year was elite. We think we're getting that, and go Cam Kinchins way earlier than people think he should go, even though it might be correct. Like that's the one thing they could do.
Definitely intrigues me, but every time I look at any DB, I'm always just comparing him to Cooper. It's like,
oh no,
I don't know. It's like I've never experienced this, but like I feel like some people, like, you have that, like, that person who you thought you were supposed to be with romantically, and then you're like, every person you're with in the future, you're always like, yeah, but she's she's cool, but she's not her. I feel like that's me with Cooper. I never had that romantically, but I definitely have that romantically with Cooper DeJean.
That's honestly why I started. Like when I'm going to look at stuff, I start with the latest round that I'm planning on doing and work my way back. Because if you start with the best and then work your way back, everybody's just like, I don't know. They're okay.
Yeah, you might find a few that you like, right?
When I did the wide receivers, I did like the top 100. I started with the bottom. And then by the time I got to the end, it was like, oh my God. Like I get it now.
Yeah.
So that's my thing from now on, I think. Because
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I fall in love with the late round guys like so much, and I end up in this situation where a lot of my favorite players go undrafted at the end, and I'm just like, how is nobody drafting this guy? And then like when they're doing the undrafted free agency scramble, I'm like panicking, and then I see so and so went to Seattle, and I'm just like, I'm dying inside, and then the Packers end up signing guys in undrafted free agency I've never heard of in my entire life. Like, did this person even declare for the draft? Did they play football? I've never heard of this human.
There are a couple. Like when you do it the other way, it starts off great, and then immediately it's like, I don't know, they're just not as good. And then all of a sudden you get to 4th, 5th round prospect. Like, I know I'm an idiot, but this guy isn't as good as the first rounders, because I swear, like I haven't seen something this good since we covered those first two guys. So those are the guys I end up falling in love with, even though I know I'm wrong. It's like, I don't care. I love it, and I'm all in on it.
Yeah.
Carl Brooks, I was obsessed with.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, take him early in the second round. Heck, if you take him in the first round, I'll say, okay, thanks. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, yeah, you probably could have gotten better play in the first round, but like I wanted him so bad.
Right.
I couldn't
It's like
believe
my
it.
it's like my favorite preface in the entire offseason when I'm talking about the draft is, I know I'm stupid, but
Ryan, at least you're enough to admit that. Nobody else does that. Nobody else will do that. They're like, listen, this guy's good no matter what. It's not
Right.
possible for him to be
I
bad.
will admit that Ryan is stupid.
No, JJ. No, not
Good
that. Not
one.
quite that, but that was good.
that was a good.
That was good. But like most people will never be like, I could be wrong, and they don't say that. They're like, I'm not wrong.
It does get to be redundant after a while. Like, yes, we know, but still.
Nar says to
Oh.
truly replace Bach, it must be a fourth round or later. Hey,
Dominic
Zach
Puny
Tom,
from
Rashid
Kansas.
Walker, come on.
Yeah.
Dominic Puny from Kansas. There you go. That's it.
All right,
You
That's
don't
the guy.
know he's
There you
gonna be
go.
a fourth or later pick.
That's the guy.
You don't know
that's
that.
the one.
I don't know, be fourth or later, but if I don't throw a name out,
What am I?
Why
even
am I
doing
here?
here? Yeah.
Why am I here?
So
Right? Like,
where's this Amagaji talk coming from? Because like
It's
I just kind of
everywhere.
randomly stumbled on him earlier, like last week. And then we talked about him earlier today. We had two different people mention him in the chat today. Why is he on people's minds right now? 'Cause-
I think it's because he was like one of the first people to declare. I think it was the first thing
Mm.
is like Ivy League gets their season done, right? Blah blah blah. And I know he got hurt too. He played like 4 games this year, but like Kieran Omega J. I don't know.
I think it's Amagaji.
Amagaji. That makes more sense. I think.
Anagata
I don't
DeVita.
know. It's just that's a
Amagaji.
cooler name than whatever you
Amagaji.
said.
Yeah,
I think it's Amagata DeVita.
Yeah. So yeah, he was one of the first to declare. Yeah, I think there's like 3 games of his on YouTube. So people probably looked into those and they see like a mauler with like fleet feet, and they're like, yep, that's it. Thank you. Good athlete playing the position, good pass blocker. Like I'm sure that's why. And like, again, the Packers fans know that like, all right, where's the projected 4th rounder?
Right.
Just write a few names down as like projected 4th rounders, and they'll
Makes
have.
sense.
I think he'll probably go higher than that. Seems
round
like a
curse.
great spot. It seems like a great spot for the 3rd round reversed curse thing.
Yeah,
to just
exactly.
keep on kicking going and like.
This is the year we
Probably right
need the
there.
3rd round curse to be broken because we have
Yeah.
all the. Do we have 3 third round picks now? I think we do.
I think it's just I see 2 unless there's going to be a compensation.
Well, we have ours. We have.
the Bills.
Don't we have the Jets and the Bills?
We just
we
have
don't
the
have the
Jets
Jets was the
second.
second.
Yeah, we just
So we
the
have
Jets
2
second.
seconds and 2 thirds.
Correct.
Yeah.
I say we package both thirds up for a 4th, just to make sure that it's gonna be a
For
good
3/4. Take it or leave it.
player. I'll take 1/4 because that player is going to be
No. I want more swings. Like I imagine getting 4 of Zach Tom. Like why would you not want that? Sounds great.
But wouldn't the other teams that you're doing business with, wouldn't they know by now that our thirds are cursed? Like you got to really make it a sweet deal to talk them into prying away.
That's
Well,
true.
they're
They know we're
fourth.
just trying to give them away.
Right.
All right. You convinced me. We'll throw in Kenny Clark.
And there we go. We have
Taking Jerzon Newton at 11 then.
we have derailed bingo. The last 2 squares, Jerzon Newton and JJ convincing Jake of some complete and utter BS.
Perfect.
Is it a curse if it's real? I think so. A curse isn't like a. I don't know. This is
You're
too
thinking
much.
of a hoax.
Does this
A curse
question
can
feel
totally
like-
be real?
Does this question feel too on the nose? Or like it's like I'm like, wait a minute. Yes?
Started going deep in a rabbit hole in
Wait a
my own
minute.
brain for a second there. I felt like I was
had to-
stoned just
I had,
reading
to
that.
I had to open about 11 doors to find the right answer to that. I'm like, wait a
Right,
minute.
like-
It was the
No,
first
that's
door. Yes.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh.
We need the gif of Keanu Reeves doing the That face trying to figure it out. Who leads the defense in hurries? I can pull that up. Sure.
Gotta be,
Why not?
it's got to be Clark or Brooks. Those are two guys we mentioned in the last 5 minutes. That's got
Say
to be what
Wyatt.
that question was asked.
I
Say
know.
why.
I know who it ain't. It ain't Kenny Clark. All right. Leads the defense in hurries. It's frickin' Kenny Clark.
Oof. There you go.
He's got 4 more than Devontae Wyatt.
I knew it was someone we just
Rashawn and
mentioned.
Rashawn and Devontae are tied at 29.
Yep.
I knew it was somebody we just mentioned.
The top 5 are Kenny, Devontae, and Rashawn. Huge drop off to
Yep.
Preston at 4, and then Carl Brooks at 5. And Kingsley and Agbar is almost tied with Carl.
And that's
Carl. And
where is the comment? Oh, right there. Just to be clear, that's specifically hurries, not pressures. Just so we're
I'm looking at
right,
specifically hurries.
Right.
If you want
Yes,
pressures, it's Rashawn.
it's got to be. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say it has to be.
Sacks is Rashawn. Hits
Yeah.
is Rashawn. Hurries is Kenny.
Do we have any other players on the D line? Rashawn and Kenny, they just lead all the categories.
Batted passes, it's Carl Brooks with 4.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody
Yeah,
else
it
has
is.
2.
Yeah, it is. I could tell you when those were. I bet.
Tackles is Quay.
I know he had 2 of them in one game. I guarantee it.
Tackles and assists are both Quay. Missed tackles, Keyshawn Nixon. He misses 20% of his tackles. Run stops is Quay.
Yep.
Forced fumbles, Rashawn and Kenny are both tied with 2, and then you got 5 other
Two
players
good
with
work.
1. And interceptions is Rudy Ford with 2, and I think he had his second in like the first week of October. So nobody has even caught
Yeah,
up.
it's been
to
a
him since
while.
then.
It's been a while.
Pass breakups. Jair and Rasul are tied at 5. Those two dudes haven't played all year, basically. Lowest NFL passer rating when targeted. Rudy Ford, 30.1. Do you want who leads the defense in penalties? It's Jonathan Owens. Tied with Rashawn, though. But you know, Jonathan Owens is more of a punching bag for us than
I was
it's
just
kinda fun.
gonna- you started talking about ball production, and you got me looking at the corners now. But like I do think you mentioned Keyshawn missing some tackles. That's got to be shored up. If they don't fix the slot position,
dude, the
I'm
Packers
going to
do
have-
not care about the slot. They
I don't.
freaking care.
If they don't fix it this offseason, I'm going to have a live meltdown on day 3 of the stream that we do.
They're not
I'm
gonna
going to
fix it
You're
No.
going
because
to
they
watch
don't
the live
care.
meltdown go on if they do not draft a slot player. This is
Our
exactly the
current
draft
slot
for it.
player is a guy that was brought in to be a special teamer for Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah,
The
and-
worst part
and
about this is there
the last
Cooper DeJean can do that. He can play in there 100%.
the last guy that they
stick him
actually
outside. Oh, goodness.
the last guy that they definitively was like, hey, we feel like this guy can play slot was frickin' Rasul Douglas, who can't do it. Rasul is totally decent when he's a boundary corner.
Yeah.
Useless in the slot. I can't even remember who it was prior to that. It was Shannon Sullivan. Do we have anybody between Shannon and
Yeah,
Rasul? We had to
Shandon
have
was
somebody.
decent.
Who was the slot corner in 2021?
Let's find
Don't
out.
know.
It wasn't Shandon,
2021 slot.
and it wasn't Keyshawn, and it wasn't Rasul.
It
Chris
was it
says
was
nobody
Chandon.
wanted Brian Branch except him. No, I had people every single day telling me all draft season that we needed Brian Branch, and I just didn't like his athleticism.
Yeah,
But-
he was popular. I didn't like him either. By the way, Chris, thank you for the $3 dono. Want to get that in there before we
Yeah.
completely move off.
Thank you. He says, "Cheers to the 3-hour derailment." We got to coax this out 2 more minutes, and then we'll be officially
Yep.
beginning the 3rd hour of
Yep,
the
there you go. Nice.
live stream.
Nice.
And in the background, I am trying to figure out how I can auto scrape the data from the consensus big board for 2024 on NFL mock draft database for my draft database.
It used to
so I
be a
don't
lot
have-
easier, and they changed like the formatting or something, and you can't do it.
No, they also
Yeah, it's
changed the
just
format
calculated
when you
with
do mocks on there, and
divs.
the display's not as good.
Last year I was using Power Automate to do it. Like I would just run the script like every 4 or 5 days. But now they charge you for that, and I don't want to pay for it.
Yikes.
And I want something automated anyways, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, they need to address it. Will they? Probably not. But this is the draft to do it.
It
There are,
would
like,
be
two
nice.
Iowa guys who can do it. 2 of them.
2022, I was freaking begging for a safety, and this is before we were like in dire straits because we still had Amos and we had Darnell, who at that point was still playing decent. I was begging for a safety.
I was waiting.
You had
for them to
all
be
these guys
proactive.
like Lewis Seen. You had all these guys who went from like
Brisker.
25 to 35, like top safeties.
Yep.
0 safeties or tight ends. That was the year we needed both.
Yep.
So then they
luck-
waited
I'm
till-
glad we waited at tight end. I would like to absolutely put hindsight on that right now. Love that you
Yeah.
wait. Love
Yeah.
that we waited at tight
It
end.
worked out in the end.
Obviously, McBride was in that class, and he's heating up now. But I like what we have there.
I think that was the
really do.
Chigazium draft as well.
Yes, I believe so. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's not good either. Mike Hebring says Eric Stokes coverage grade 40.7, QB rating 158.3.
I
It's tough to
I
return
find
from.
it hard to put any stock in like anything Stokes is doing until we know he's healthy, because we know he's
That
not
is the
healthy.
problem.
Yeah,
So-
it's one game. Too.
That is-
It's not a
I
season.
can't get myself worked up over it.
Yeah.
Like if he's been playing like 10 games in a row and there's no improvement,
Right.
then yeah, I'll start to get a little concerned. Right now, I'm just like happy that he can walk, if I'm
Right.
being honest.
It's true.
So
That is true.
I don't know. Everybody's frustrated with Eric Stokes, and I'm just amazed that he is on the field at all, if I'm being honest. Just that injury was so horrific. He came back from it so quick. So
No, I agree. That's a good point. It is nice to just have him see if he can play the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it several times, but my thought is just he had a solid rookie year. He got hurt in year 2.
Yep.
We haven't seen him at all this year aside from one game. When he comes back and plays a year, then we'll have year 2 to assess him. But as of right now, as far as I'm concerned, we have rookie year. And yeah, the start of his second year didn't look like it was off to a great start.
well, the
But there
eye
were-
test didn't, but the like EPA was like out of this world.
He
was
did
one
have
of the
there were
better-
some metrics that were pretty ridiculous. PFF hated him. But
Yeah, I didn't love it.
even that, it was like he had a dead period right when everybody else did. Like he played in the early part, so it was New England, the Giants, the Jets, and Washington were his 4 bad games that dragged down his stats and his grades and everything. That's when the entire everybody on defense did. They just recovered because they played the rest of the season. But Stokes played those 4 games, had bad grades, and then got hurt and was out.
and
That was
they
very
were-
much in the scene of like, what the heck is going on?
Right.
That was
Yeah,
like the
everybody
whole
collapsed.
thing. Yeah, it was like the whole like, how have we done this in this stretch?
Yeah.
This was supposed to be like the stretch where there's going to be any issues.
They also were using him a little weird. Like he was not lining up in the box, but you were kind of seeing some of the same crap we're seeing with Savage, where he's not lining up in the box, but then that's where he ends up, and he's trying to make all these, plays inside.
Yeah. Which also gets
like, does anybody think that's what he's good at?
right. Which also gets back to the part where it's like I don't really want to comfortably assess too many players until Joe Barry's gone, anyways. Because I mean,
The other thing.
let's just get a defensive coordinator that knows what he's doing, and then we can adequately assess what players are good and what players suck.
Agreed. I had a bunch of conversations with people today because I was just kind of going on like I'm frustrated with Joe Barry rant on Twitter. I had a bunch of people talking about like, hey, we got to get rid of this player and we need a position, a person at this position, everything. And I just kept repeating over and over again, like, I just don't feel like I can make a good educated assessment right now of a lot of these guys. Cause like Rashawn is playing like crap and Kenny's playing like crap, and Devondre's playing like crap. Like nobody's playing good football except for Carrington Valentine. Okay, I don't think that this is a clean data sample
Right.
for me to assess who should be back next year. Like, can we get somebody competent leading all the coaches, installing the defense, and then figure out where we have weaknesses? Because I just, if you point a finger at Devondre and say, well, he's not good enough, I don't know, man. Like, we know he's injured and
Right.
nobody's playing well. So you may feel comfortable evaluating Devondre. I don't.
Well, especially this past week when the entire defense imploded, which I'm sure a lot of that had to do with the game plan. It had to do with the play calling and everything else.
Yeah.
And it's like the one guy that's getting picked on, Devondre, because of a couple plays. It's like, I don't know, man. Like if they have a game where they bounce back and dominate, and he's out there just looking like a freaking chicken with his head cut off, doesn't know what he's doing, then we can talk about it. But it's like everybody goes with the flow. Like Devondre's awesome when the defense is awesome, and Devondre sucks when everybody sucks.
Yeah.
So
And
I
the
don't know.
defense is gassed. Like they're just out of juice right now. Everybody, you see like Rashawn sitting on the sideline with his head down. Like they are cooked across the board. They're disheartened. They're not like the locker room is not in it right now. These guys are exhausted. They don't believe in what they're doing. So there you go.
Bringing some of these combos back full circle.
Yeah.
Lose to Carolina to screw the Bears over. I like it. Not really. I don't want to watch them.
Listen, it is kind of a win-win, but at the same time, like I don't want to be grouped in with the Texans and Falcons as teams to lose to Carolina.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure I want to be a part of that. And I get the Texans; they're kind of young, so young on a road game. Like, okay, fine. I don't want to be in the same company as Atlanta, to be honest. That was a mess on Sunday.
But like you said, that would be the silver lining.
It would. But it's also like it's Carolina. Like when you look at their offensive roster across the board, you go, okay, there was ever a moment where like the frustrations from Gary and the frustrations, from Campbell, which is totally fair. Like I get it. I get the frustration after a game like that. If there was ever a team to right a ship defensively against, this is the team. And I know the jokes are out there already about like, hey, can we unbust Bryce Young? Like, yeah, I'm sure, probably. Like,
yeah,
it's very possible that you can. But like, this is the perfect time. Like, I don't know if you guys have looked into Ike Ekwonu in year 2. Holy smokes, pass protection. Holy smokes, that's not good. Yeah. Like it's getting like the vibes are like getting Evan Neal almost in pass pro. Like those two right now in pass pro this year.
It's rough.
Holy cow. So, and like Mingo is like, you could tell he's trying to figure out how to play the position right now. He is, everything's like coming at him like the S2 test. It's like he's getting the S2 test in real time when he's playing receiver. And he's like, I don't know what that is or that, but a jump. Oh yeah. Jump by the sideline. Yep. Got it. Oh wait, that was wrong. Like it's too fast for him. It's going to take time. Like so like they're in all kinds of out of sorts on offense. So it would be the perfect time to like, okay, just get back on track, play within yourselves, play the football you can be with all this talent, and like just get back on track right here.
All these people coming clean about how they jinxed us. No wonder we're losing like this. I mean, everybody's doing the exact wrong things all the time. Yep. The Packers just couldn't bear the weight of all the unbelievable jinxes. Chief among them, obviously, is freaking Jersey Mike. But
I just need everybody to do what you did on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And the week after that.
Is that so hard?
Well,
don't do anything else. Okay. If you wore the green jersey
turkey,
for the Thanksgiving game, wear the green jersey. Like it.
Apparently, it's too much to ask. I don't know.
I tried to do my part because the Packers have won more games than they've lost when I don't watch the game live and I go back and watch it later. Okay. So after this disaster of a Giants game, which was the only game in the last couple months that I've been able to sit down and watch live in real time, I made the conscious decision. I had the opportunity to watch the Buccaneers game live and chose not to because I thought I was jinxing them.
Yeah.
And apparently that wasn't it. So now I can watch guilt free now.
There you go.
When I wear green that isn't Packers related, it seems to be better. When I wear a Green Bay Packers anything, it's not great. It's not
No.
great. Other than the Jair jersey I have, which I wore to the Saint game.
So I have a
no
Randall
doubt,
Cobb
but-
jersey, and I wore it to the Minnesota Vikings game in like week 18 of the 2021 season. And they won that game. I was there in person. Every game that I have worn that jersey while watching on TV, they've lost. And that included like the Buccaneers NFC Championship game. Like, and then like some other like bizarre losses that you're just like you never saw it coming. I was wearing that jersey. So I have not worn it since.
Yeah, I have an away Rodgers jersey that I don't wear anymore. Like they started losing in the playoffs when I started to wear. I'm like, I'm not doing this. Sorry. Display.
I mean,
Like,
to be
that's
fair,
it.
they haven't really won in the playoffs lately, anyways.
No, this
so.
is true, but like they've played the Niners a lot. You know, there's nothing you can't do anything about that. Like we clearly you can't do anything about it. But yeah, just certain things you avoid. Drudy, I'm going to get an Acme Packers jersey of Tucker Kraft. You bet your butt. I'm going to do that. No doubt.
I feel stupid for asking. What is an Acme Packers jersey? Is it like the current throwbacks?
I think it's the
Like what makes it an Acme Packers jersey?
blue.
Oh, the blue.
I think
so.
so.
Blue is hideous.
I think the blue. Because I'm pretty sure I have an Acme Packers like winter hat, and I'm pretty sure it's the blue.
It is the
Mm.
blue. It's the.
Yeah, it is. There you go.
You know, the first thing that popped up when I Googled it though
Yeah.
is the blue with the poop helmet.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. That is the one.
Well, I'll tell you what, boys, we should probably do closing thoughts because I got stuff to do and sleep to get.
Probably a good idea.
Well, we didn't get to the biggest topic that I really wanted to do, which was
That's
How
the
would you-
best.
like how
That's the best way to end it.
That's so good.
creative ways to kill Joe Barry.
Oh, jeez.
What?
I'm glad we didn't get to
What?
that one.
Don't act like you're offended.
Not offended.
I'm
I
not-
just want to.
I wish I was a
YouTube
better
channel at the
actor
end of
than
the
I
day.
am right now, but I'm not acting.
What? We were texting about that. What?
That was in the chat? Was it actually?
It was, but nobody bit. It was just me.
All right.
I didn't see that. I'm glad I didn't because I did.
Creative ways.
Uh,
And it better be creative.
I mean, you
put
could have
put a
him-
true safety on the field. Is that what we were going for? Like, is that
Yeah, that'd
I
do
play
it.
safety?
You could make him play linebacker. I feel like that would get him killed.
All right. Yeah, we should just that's a great final thought that we should just leave there. I think just kind of
We'll just ruminate on that, dream about it.
I'm working on my final thought. Just give me like 30 seconds of filler here.
I can do
Jake-
a final thought.
Jake, here's another final thought. Ryan and I have been
Okay.
BSing about a draft project, like a WordPress site that has a bunch of like data about all the draft prospects, and then guest writers, aka you, Jake,
That would be you.
could
Doesn't even use my name. Best writer, you.
no, it would
No,
have
I'm
your
just kidding.
name.
I'm just kidding.
I just don't know how. I don't know how many other people we would.
I'm
extend the
drawing this out. I'm sorry.
You would be able to log in,
Thank you.
select a player, aka Jerzon Newton, and
It's one of two players you should be looking up. Yep.
and you can write down your thoughts and observations on them. And it's kind of like our own version of the Draft Network.
I love it.
Yep.
Just like a short little summary thing.
Right. You're just doing kind of your own your own draft profile. Here's what I like about Jerzon Newton, and here is what I think he would have to improve on after we draft him in order to really meet his potential.
Yeah, I'm in.
Dakota says, I don't want to be awake right now. Yeah. Us
Me
too.
either, Dakota.
That's why we're waiting for Ryan to finish up.
I
his-
do.
I just got to figure out how to share this. It's
I'll
not
be aware.
great, but it's done, so now it needs to happen. I just want to do a picture.
My mid journey is broken. Not broken. I have had a subscription to it for like a year. And I finally canceled it the other day, and I didn't realize that the expiration date was today. So I was trying to submit the Bill Belichick as a witch prompt to it
That's what I'm doing right now.
over and over again, and it wasn't
Oh.
working.
Darn.
Clayton says
Clayton.
guest writer Adam
That's
Shine.
hilarious, by the way.
Heck yeah.
How many of those you click on and just say can't play football?
This is dumb. All right, I'll just share my screen. That's not the way I wanted to do it. but-
If Adam Shine says Drake May can't play football, he's gonna be good. There you go, done. So it's like kind of the reverse reverse Jake's type of thing.
Here's the thing. So the prop, here's the oh my goodness.
It almost looks more like Lou Anarumo.
I was gonna say the face is not quite. I was hoping
Yeah.
to find a better face, but it's not. It's not terrible. It's
No.
This
just
is
a work
like
in,
the
it's a work in
love
progress.
child of Bill Belichick and Joe Barry, actually.
Yeah, I mean it's
It looks like
something.
Scrooge as a witch.
I like it. Were any of the other ones good, or is this the best one?
The
need
the
like a s-
faces are just bad here.
You need like a spell coming out of like a cauldron that says "cover one man."
Oh, the top left. That's Brian Gutekunst, at least in the little thumbnail I can
Is
see.
it? I think it's John Dutton.
a little bit.
It's a little hard for me to see.
It's
kinda
not.
small.
It's not who we're looking
Bill
for.
Belowich, somebody said.
I like the hair over here.
The hair is
The
great.
Undertaker.
Oh yes.
There we go with the beard. Oh, that looks him a little bit, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
that's
number
Bill
three.
Belichick.
Oh, and it's got the creepy. Oh, that's really good.
It's not bad, man. Let's
I'll
Dude,
take
you're
that.
about to make me re-sign up for Midjourney. I have been without it
that's it, man.
for less than 12 hours.
That's it. Yeah,
I think that's it.
the one. Yep. Oh, it's just creepy enough too. It's just
Can
creepy
you
enough where
can
don't-
you
don't
like
it.
send me the URL for this?
You like it, but you don't like it. That's when you know it's good.
I just
Yeah.
want to save it for some social media moment when like something witchy
Yeah.
happens for the Patriots. And I just want to post it,
Like beating Denver this week for no reason.
right? I don't know.
Well, you can
Denver's
almost-
so weird because like it never made sense when they were bad, and then it didn't make sense when they were good.
Oh, they were getting
They're
carried by
just such a
turnovers.
weird, boring team.
They were getting carried by turnovers, and the lines didn't turn over.
Bill Belowich. All right,
There you go.
too old for this. You get derailer of the week, I think.
No, it's no.
no.
It's
Who
gotta
gets
be,
it?
It's got to be Blaine.
That's
Oh.
true. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Too old for this. If
He'll be
you
back next
want to
week.
be derailer of the week again, you got to out Blaine.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, we're back on Blaine's topic, and he's been off the show for an hour and a half.
True. There's your
Definitely
W right there.
It's definitely Blaine.
Yep.
Jake, do you have any closing thoughts?
Just put edge rusher in the back of your mind in the first round.
I mean, I'm good with it because I
Yeah.
am always down to draft more edge rushers.
Top 4 look kind of good.
Oh, show.
Just saying.
But, dude, why can't I remember my guy's name? What's my guy's name? The guy I put money on to be the first non-quarterback.
Latu.
Latu, yeah. If it's Latu, I want him bad.
I think
take him
he'll
over
be
anybody.
available.
You think he'll be available?
If they're picking at 11, yeah. If they're picking at 15, probably, yeah.
Dude, I need
teams
him.
are going to have the medical question, right? So that's where you might see him slip a little.
Well, good news. In Green Bay, first round picks don't play very much. You can be sitting on the bench healing for a while. Remember, edge rushers are technically linebackers.
Oh,
Drew wants an offensive tackle. Hey, in Joe
Day
Barry's
two.
team, an offensive tackle could be a linebacker.
Day two.
Yeah.
Drew. Day two.
Day 2 tackles.
If they're not high enough for Sean Worrell, it's not going to be a day one tackle. I don't think. I don't.
All right, boys and girls, that's it for us today. We'll be right back here next week. Follow us on Twitter at JJ Leahy, at Pack_Daddy, and at Jake NFL Draft to stay up to date on all things Packers or ask us questions. Make sure you subscribe to Packernet on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.